A pleasant day to everyone. Abraham Lincoln, in his Gettysburg Address, mentioned the words of the people, by the people, and for the people. Today, you can exercise your voting rights without pressure. Today, you can choose your representative whom you think can represent you well, whom you think can speak for your thoughts and opinions, and whom you think has the heart to serve the whole studentry. In choosing your leader, I urge you to at least consider these five qualities. Number one, your leader must know how to get along with people. That is so self-explanatory. I don't need to elaborate that. Number two, your leader must be humble. Humble leaders can accept criticism, knows how to apologize, and also value disagreements. Number three, your leader must be prudent. Rather than taking bold risks, prudent leaders take extra time to have smart backup plans. Number four, your leader must be emphatic. Leaders need to care about what is good for others. Lastly, choose a leader who has a great sense of accountability. Trust leaders who consistently follow through on their promises. So to end, today is the best and the only time to know whether these aspiring leaders are capable of being called our leaders. So vote wisely.
Arrow. Start na? Okay, thank you so much, Miss Pam, for that wonderful opening. Tama talaga, no? Sana alalahanin talaga natin yung 5 qualities na hinahanap natin sa mga kandidato natin for today. Pero bago tayo magsimula, of course, we need to introduce ourselves first, di ba? So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the meeting de Avance for PSHS SMC's Government Election 2022. I'm Sam Abano. Arrow, nakamute ka ata.
I'm so sorry, hindi nyo ba ako narinig? Was I muted?
Ayun.
Teka lang. Okay, so if hindi nyo narinig, once again, I'm Aro Paquera and we are your hosts for today's event. Pero bago tayo magsimula, let's make sure muna that the very constituents who have to hear kung ano yung mga dapat sabihin ng mga leaders na ito, ng mga aspiring leaders, are actually here. So as we can see, ilan na ba yung viewers natin currently, Sam?
52 sa YouTube, Arrow. Parang ang konti pa, no? Compare mo sa
Sobrang konti
ilan ba dapat ang boboto?
O bakit 50 lang ba yung boboto, di ba? And as
Oh.
voters, we have to make very informed decisions dahil the leaders who we will choose now will will dictate and will be crucial sa maging experience natin for the next year. For anong school year ba yan? 2023? 2024?
Tama.
Hindi, 2022, 2023.
2023, Arrow.
Oo. The first school year nawala na tayo, no? Pero it's okay.
Oo.
Mamimiss namin some stuff. Pero we want na bago kami umalis, the right leaders are leading the way para naman matiwasay yung stay ninyo here and your experience in
Tama,
your
especially, di ba, next year baka mag-face-to-face na, Arrow. Kaya kailangan talaga we make our votes count for this very last time.
Very important. in terms of the transition, in terms of, kasi mas mahirap na events, na mas pressuring na events sa face-to-face. Some, no?
Kaya dun sa 53 na nanonood ngayon, di ba? Kailangan talaga, kung pwede, pakitawag na lang yung mga iba para we can
Oo,
all
please.
make the initiative one.
Oh, ayan, from Sir Trex. Sam Guapa Araw Pogi. Okay, tama-tama ka naman, Sir Trex.
Tama, sir.
Very, very accurate. Oh, ilang
Pag-
47. Sa akin ay 47 lang pa rin yung viewers. Ano ba yan, guys? Tawagan yung mga kasama nyo. Eh, sino ba
56!
makikinig sa kanila? Sino ba
Sige,
makikinig sa
mag-intay
ating mga
tayo. Mga
leaders, sa kanilang
5 minutes
speeches?
siguro, no? Pasok na siguro sila niyan.
Sige, for a while. Oo, ganun. We'll give them the chance to, tawagin yung mga kasama nyo, friends, or kahit na yung mga kung kaibigan nyo itong mga candidates na to, wouldn't you want to support them, di ba? Kasi alam ko, medyo kinakabahan sila. We can see them right now sa Zoom. And in their faces, ramdam namin yung tension, yung kaba. And they would want to lead. The responsibility. Ayan, let's see. And if you're in the chat right now, make yourselves be heard. Dahil we are actively reading chat naman. So mag-chat kayo if you have candidates na you support. If you have friends, gusto niyo shout out. Ayan. Mga friends niyo, shout out niyo na wala dito, hindi nakikinig. And we know guys na patapos na yung school year and many of us would not want to be involved na with school related stuff. Kasi personally, siguro kung hindi ako host dito, hahanapin pa ako ng batchmates ko para sumali sa meeting de Avance. Pero I hope we realize that this is very crucial kasi when choosing the right leaders, kilala natin sila, di ba? And how else would we get to know them? If hindi tayo makikinig sa platforms nila, with how they introduce themselves, ayan, meron ng chats pero sobrang kaunti. 63 are watching. We will begin guys pag medyo madami-dami na tayo. Ito, tingnan natin yung chat natin na sobrang tahimik. Kahit magtapo na lang kayo ng emojis guys. Ayan, may nagsabi na we'll be waiting for the debate. So, I'm not sure if debate
sayang.
yun,
Wala yata tayong debate this year, Araw, no? Pero meron tayong mga bago na events, di ba?
May mga events kayong aabangan that will test the capacity na mag-isip ng mga candidates natin. Kasi ultimately, how critical they are and how perceptive they are of things will be crucial and will be fundamental sa kanilang leading.
Yun nga, yung sinabi ni Miss Pam kanina, di ba? Yung 5 qualities nga daw na hinahanap natin. Accountability. Ano pa yung iba, Araw?
Kasi alala mo kanina, parang nawala yung internet ko for a while. I was gone. Pero I'm pretty sure naman na lahat ng sinabi ni Miss Pam are very relevant qualities. Ayan, may nagpa-shoutout po from Audrey. Audrey, shout out to you kahit first name mo lang yung kita namin. Okay, we'll be waiting for the new event. Sabi nung nabanggit kanina na they will be waiting for the debate kasi walang debate. Pero later on, you will be given the opportunity to give questions to our candidates. So I hope na as you listen along sa mga sinasabi nila, mag-isip-isip na din kayo kung ano yung mga questions ninyo. If you have things you would want clarified, o kung may mga platforms kayo na, parang hindi magandang platform to, I would want this to be explained better. So,
kung gusto nyo
makinig talaga kayo.
Oo, nandun sa pinaka-end natin, Araw, di ba? Para narinig na nila lahat ng gustong sabihin. Tsaka nila pwede itanong yung mga hindi pa na-address. Yun, may nagpapa-shoutout po.
Hi, Juris. Shout out to you. Nagtanong si Sir Trex. Naaba daw ML. So, waiting the Avance.
Gusto mo, sir?
Ibang sagupaan. Ayan, pa-shoutout daw kay Grace Espino. Grace, may supporter ka. Si Jayan. Si Ruby Jane, right? Siya yan. Ito naman, mag-away sila about sa mga Disney princesses. Yan ba nangyari last year? Last year ba? Was that the debate? Was it about Disney princesses? Parang yun din yung alala ko.
Last year yata yun.
Unfortunately, wala tayong ganong event.
Sige lang, kasi super special natin na event na bago ngayon, di ba? Shock na lang sila mamaya.
Ayan, may nagtanong, do you know if when, ano to, you okay? So he said, hindi ko intindi po yung, ano ninyo, message. But I appreciate the participation. Ito, good luck daw, Martina, from Zarina Roque. Yan, may natawa tungkol sa, sa Disney princesses from last year.
Nagpapa-shoutout yung pinaka nagasulat natin na commenter natin, si Riot Vinster. Go,
Shout
Riot.
out to you. Ito, meron ng may mga nagtatanong pero I don't really understand right now, so hindi ko muna babasahin. And pa-shout out
Hindi
daw
mo
from
kaya yan,
Juan the
eh.
Nerd. Kasasi daw ng debate last year. So I hope
So yun
this
ang
year.
debate?
So yun ang debate. Kami ni Sam.
Sayang.
Wala akong chance.
Sayang di
Wala
tayo
akong chance.
nag-debate kasi kasi araw kulang yung mga candidates natin this year, di ba? Konti lang ang nag-step up to the challenge.
So, like the mere fact na tumakbo sila, even if they don't win, is
Mm-mm.
already, commendable. Kasi nga, di ba, the responsibility, lalo na nung online, lalo na ngayong online, I wouldn't think of running from what I've experienced. Sobrang exhausting na naging past 2 years. But to find, something in you na willing pa to give, that's very commendable and very unselfish.
Especially since hindi
Paano-
natin alam, di ba, kung anong mangyayari next year. Online pa ba? Face-to-face ba?
Diba? Which means yung decision nila to lead comes with the ambiguities, with the uncertainties. And hopefully pag nag face to face, hindi magbago yung isip ninyo, bro. Sana you're still willing to step up sa new responsibilities that will emerge. Currently, we have 71 viewers. Nadagdagan tayo ng ilang friends na nahugot ng ating viewers. Guys, drag more people pa. Kasi ilan ba tayo sa ilan ba entire population?
Magsimula
mag-decide
siguro
dapat?
tayo pagka, kaabot siguro tayo 100, no? Kaya siguro yan.
Siguro. But we'll see. We'll
Uy.
see. Depende din sa oras.
Yung mga, natin, reminder lang, di ba, araw, mananalo lang sila kapag 50% plus 1 votes. Ganun pa rin ba yun ngayon?
So, may ganun pa ring aspect. Ibig sabihin, guys, even for those na who are
running post, nag-lag yata itong kasama ko. Even for those who are running post, ayun, babalik na ba siya? Yan talaga pagka live stream, diba? Even for those na running post, siguro kung kaya nyo, magtawag pa rin kayo ng mga tao na nandito, diba? Para kahit na pag manalo na kayo, hindi sila ma-shock na lang na ganito pa rin yung mga platforms nyo. So, yun. Yun. Nagalag na si Kuya Arrow. Good luck, Martina! Ay. Okay, nag-load pa daw si Arrow. So, tayo na lang muna, guys. Kamusta ba? Oh, nawala na si President James Neal. It looks like someone left the Wi-Fi towers to sleep. Samantha Marie Nobleza for grade 12 batch ko. Ay, wow, may supporter siya. Grade 12 tsaka grade 11 lang yung mga hindi unopposed, no? So, good luck sa inyo, guys. Kayo lang yung may kalaban. Oh, ayun si Kylie, saving me from, please wait na pala yung Thank God. Wait na lang talaga konti, guys.
Ayan, sorry, nawala ako dahil sa
Ayun.
ng Pilipinas. Okay. And nabalitaan ko na nung nawala daw ako, bumaba ang viewers natin. Bakit ganon? Bakit
Kasi
ganon?
ikaw daw talaga yung main event, Aro.
Ako yung main event. Ako ba yung tatakbo dito? As president. Sige, kung
Hindi,
ako yung
feeling ko
tatakbo, guys.
excited lang sila. O sige, go.
Ay, pero ayan, nadagdagan na. We are nasa 81 viewers. Pagkabalik ko, thank you. Thank you sa inyo lahat.
Dagdagan ng isa? Oo.
Mm. And sabihan nyo na magsisimula na talaga tayo. Maybe in a few seconds, in a few minutes, magsisimula na talaga tayo. Na talaga, final people na you can invite, guys. Tell everyone. Kasi alam ko na excited din kayo marinig yung platforms, yung plans, and makilala yung mga candidates natin. And of course, mahirapan tayong magsimula kung wala yung viewers, di ba? But I guess, dahil 2 p.m. na, we'd have to start na, Sam, no?
Feel ko rin kaya sila nawala kasi gusto na talaga nila, di ba? Magsimula na. So, ayun. Sige, start na tayo, Aro.
Okay. So, ano bang magiging next aspect matapos mag-introduce si Miss Pam matapos siya mag-speech? What will be the next part of our meeting, the Avance, Sam?
Siyempre, pagkatapos ng opening remarks natin, di ba, hindi na tayo magpapaligoy-ligoy. Dire-diretso na tayo sa candidate speeches ng ating mga kandidato, di ba? Kasi marami-rami rin sila, Aro. We have 10 candidates for today.
Marami.
So ngayon na nabuksan na ni Miss Pam, dire-diretso na tayo. So for the mechanics, each candidate will be given 3 minutes to deliver their platform speech. Wala na silang thinking time kasi prepared na naman yata sila dito, di ba, Aro? So, the timer will start at the first word uttered. Pero, syempre naman, candidates, we trust that you will be mindful of the time para kayo magsimula. So, Aro, would you do us the honor of starting off with our potential SG president?
Okay, so magsisimula tayo with the highest position na tatakbuhan sa ating student government. Running unopposed for Student Council President, heading the Advocates for Truth, Excellence, and Responsibility, or the After Party List, is Batch 2023's James Neil M. Agsalog. James was a member of the Psy Wings. He's also a business manager for the Communication Arts Club and a feature editor for Bagwis Agham for a year. He has been a class president since 2020, and currently he's an executive secretary of the Schools Model United Nations organization. He's also the social media overseer for the ISCO Studio organization and is a member of the Minerva organization since last year. So, everyone, let's give a warm welcome to James. James, you have 3 minutes and you can start whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, Pisay. My name is James Neil M. Agsalog, and I am running to be your next SG president. Seeing the impact that the SG has on the student body and the fact that it's going to be my last year in Pisay has really inspired me to serve and play a part in making change happen in the school. If I were to be your president, I would really strive to improve on student awareness in terms of school and SG events, activities, programs, and other things. I observed that in general, some in the student body do not really know what goes on in the school or in SG. So they miss programs, do not answer surveys, and miss opportunities. And with that, I would like to present our flagship programs, the SG Memo and the SG Transparency Drive. So I'm proposing to centralize the information dissemination system through the SG memo. It's a PubMat-like document that's prepared by the SG. It's short and concise, so it's easily readable, and it's gonna contain announcements, upcoming events, reports on programs, and other important details. The SG Transparency Drive, on the other hand, is basically a Google Drive folder for everything SG. We're going to make documents such as the SG calendar, financial reports, guidelines for events, documentations of events, SG memos, and other important stuff accessible to the student body in an effort to be transparent. I believe that in implementing these programs, you, the student body, would know what the SG is doing for you. In addition, I would also continue the previous programs of SG, the FFD, Cyber, Love Report, Booth Fairs, to, of course, foster bonds between students and improve school spirit. I will also work to strengthen support systems and improve accessibility to student services. And since we're always open for criticisms and suggestions, we're going to strengthen our feedback mechanisms by working on the class level and collecting feedback for maximum efficiency. SG operates under the goal to improve students' well being and to be the voice of the student body. And if given the chance to be your president, I will not waste your vote and I will work hard to achieve this goal. I know that being SG president is challenging and draining, if I may say, but I am someone who is willing to work and strive for the betterment of the student body. I will listen and take action. I will represent you well and will try my very best to make the next school year fun and enjoyable for all. So vote wisely. Thank you.
Woo! Okay. Thank you so much for that, James. I hope nakinig talaga everyone no sa mga platform and mga plano ng possible SG President-elect natin kasi yun talaga yung pinakamataas na ranggo. And grabe niya ka-importante para sa next year natin. So, moving on naman to our senior vice president runner from After Party List, Iara Maxine G. Erlandes. Iara has leadership experience as class mayor last year. She founded Isco Studio and is a member of E-Race for this school year. So, Iara, whenever you're ready, time starts with the first word uttered.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yara Erlandes of the After Party List, and I am running for the position of Senior Vice President for school year 2022 to 2022. Being a student leader, I have experienced its hardships and burdens. However, I have also felt the sense of accomplishment and fulfillment it brings. And by running as Senior Vice President, I believe that I am capable of assisting the students in the specialization years to the best of my abilities. I know that grades 11 to 12 are the most hectic times during high school, since this is where students will start focusing on their preparations for the future, which is college. Thus, my main plans are establishing a centralized network of information for competitions and SIP opportunities, along with the information students need once they start applying for college. 2 years of preparation is relatively short, so having the general things they need compiled in one area would help them save some time, no matter how small it is. This will be accomplished by coordinating with the respective heads and with the student body in order to gather volunteers that are willing to lend their assistance in building the network. Lastly, I also plan to relaunch the seniors prom for the upcoming school year for the grades 11 and 12 students if the situation allows us to. Prom has always been one of the most anticipated events in high school. I am certain that some, if not most, students would wish to experience it before they leave for college. Therefore, I want to make this event come true so that the seniors are able to make more memorable events before they graduate. And it is a given that I will also do my best to assist the SG president and my fellow student government members so that we are able to deliver the best experience for all. We are still in difficult times. However, I promise that for everyone in the student pod, if you will vote for me, I will do my best to serve you so that you will be able to enjoy your student life in the upcoming school year. Because by having a firm ground to support you, you are able to stand strong. Once again, I am Yara Hernandez, running for Senior Vice President. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Yara. And isa sa mga important notes that I have picked up from what she said was quality of life as a student. And I think that's very important. And that's one thing that your leaders would want to reassure to you. Next up, we have the candidate who is running for junior vice president. Angeli was once already a class president and a batch governor. Now, he believes that he is ready for a bigger leadership role, But is he? Well, let's find out. Running for Junior Vice President, let's give it up for Angeli Elizalde Panal Jr. You have 3 minutes and you can start whenever you are ready, Angeli.
Hello everyone, I'm Anjali Elizalde Ipano Jr. of Batch 2025, running for the position of Junior Vice President in PSHS SMC. Being a student government officer necessitates a great deal of dedication and a desire to serve the student body. It requires vigilance, hard work, and mountains of responsibility, among other things. So knowing the workload and expectations of being an SG officer, what exactly is my motivation for running? So my interest in running derives from a desire to give back to the community that has helped me develop and refine my talents, not only as a scholar, but also as an individual. I had always felt indebted to the SMC community for molding me into a better person, which is why I want to be able to give an impact and be a difference for those who seek change. I would also like to use this as an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone and nurture my leadership skills, whilst being able to lead with courage, transparency, and integrity for the student body. Now, with that said, what exactly are my platforms as a candidate for junior vice president? So my platforms are mainly divided into four main agendas. First, it is to push for more junior body representation in student affairs. Considering that the junior batches comprise most of the student body's population, we should be more open to catering to their problems. This can be achieved through advocacy and junior demographic assessments. Second, it is to push for more engagement within the junior body through events and programs. These programs will offer students the opportunity to excel or enjoy in an area that does not directly involve academics. I want PSI to be more than just a place for learning, but also a place where students can have fun, make memories, and socialize. Thirdly, I also seek to enhance information dissemination within our campus. It is because by the next school year, it is expected that each junior batch will all have roughly 120 students, which is why information dissemination should be improved in order to avoid miscommunication and encourage unity within the younger batches. Another goal of mine is to promote flexibility regardless of how the following school year is structured, whether it is face-to-face, online, or blended learning. I believe it's important for us to look into every aspect of each configuration in order to maximize our goals and tasks. I believe these programs have the potential to improve the PSI experience of students and will create a better environment that caters not just to academics, but also to other affairs. With that said, I believe I am qualified for this role because I possess the abilities and the attributes that a good leader should have. As a dedicated leader, I am always open to developing my skills in order to abide by my duties and serve my fellow students the best I could. Just like what a great man once said, if you're not a good shot today, don't worry. There are other ways to be useful. This is Anj Panal, encouraging you all to vote smart, vote wisely, and vote after party. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Anjali. I feel like grabe din ka well thought out na speech, no? So just as a reminder sa audience natin ha, may open forum tayo mamaya. So we really encourage you to listen well and critically. And kung may questions kayo, isulat nyo lang sa chat later because our candidates will be very happy to answer some questions. So moving on na tayo no sa ating sole runner for treasurer, also from the after party list. Micah Paulina C. Limkenko. Micah has been a member of the Lamdag Center Girls Club and Davao Archery Club for over 8 and 6 years respectively. She has served as a class auditor, batch representative of the Math Club, and vice president of the school's Red Cross Youth for a year each, and a current member of the E-Race and International Girls Club Asia. Wow, tas ha. So, Micah, whenever you're ready.
Another day, another slay. A pleasant afternoon to all. I am Micah Paulina Lemenko, a grade 11 student running for the position of SG Treasurer. Being a student leader has become my passion since day one. I have always wanted to help and serve people, may it be in the school or in the community, to dedicate time and effort to the student body. Moreover, I like to push myself and strive for the best. That is why I've that is why I've been serving my school for as long as I remember. In fact, I was my grade school's SG treasurer when I was in the fourth grade. When I entered PSI, I became a class auditor for a year and a class treasurer for 2 years. All those years serving as a treasurer were never a burden for me. I felt that I was fulfilling my duty and it was honestly fun. Just as much as I enjoy solving certain math problems, I actually enjoy calculating and accounting financial reports. With this passion in mind, I could incorporate my goals with that of my party list. For our party's plans and projects, I would like to focus on the goals of transparency and efficient budgeting. Through the SG Transparency Drive, financial reports will be available and can be viewed by the whole student body and the PSI family. I also plan to discuss financial updates every SG meeting, to host quarterly budget expenses and finance meetings open to the whole student body to attend. Donation drives will also be handled with constant updates. For the logistics team members will also be assigned clear and specific roles to help improve efficiency and communication. With these plans, ideas, platforms in mind, I know I am ready to serve. Through the experiences and skills that I have gained throughout the years, I know that I am ready to take on this position. I am also very thankful for the people who have pushed me to run, as they have made me believe in myself as much as they do. I am excited to serve you all. And always remember na sisiguraduhin ko palagi kayong may katiwala. Vote wisely, Pisay SMC. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Maika. And sana nga talaga masigurado mong lagi kaming may katiwala. And every day is a chance to slay, no? Pero obviously, if may pinagkaiba tayo, Maika, you enjoy solving math problems. And I think you'd be fit for a leadership role kung talagang you enjoy the uglier parts of life. Pero let's move on na to the next candidates. We will be introducing now aspiring candidates running for the position of grade 12 batch governor. And yes, you heard me right. I said candidates. Kasi nga naman, dalawa ang tumatakbo at nagnanais na pangunahan at pamunuan ng kanilang batch as a governor in their final year. Which is a very taxing and a very crucial responsibility, considering this will be your last year. But at the same time, it's going to be a very fulfilling one. Kaya huwag nating patagalin pa to. Starting with our first candidate, member of the after party list, Sari was once a batch representative and vice president of the school's Glee Club. Currently, she co-founds and heads the research department and public relations of the Minerva organization. Also, she is an onboarding specialist of EDGI and a PR committee layout artist of Love Girls. I guess you've heard enough from me already. This time, let's give it up for Samantha Nobleza. You have 3 minutes and you can start whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Marina Blazer, running to be your next grade 12 batch governor. As it is batch 23's last year in Pasay, I want to make the most out of this school year and make it the most memorable one in our lives. Our stay in Pasay has been a roller coaster ride. Together, we have experienced hardships such as burnout, lack of batch and inter-batch interactions, and miscommunication. Additionally, we'll have to face a transition from the online setup back to face-to-face. As your batch governor, I have vowed to address these hardships one by one until the end of the school year. Firstly, I propose to create a program that will include our peers in the actions taken by the school to help students with mental health problems. As a student, I understand that most of us prefer talking with our friends about these topics. Therefore, including students would definitely help both the school and the student in need. As a fellow peer facilitator, I believe that with the batch's help and with the training the peer facilitators have underwent, it would immensely help the guidance office in tackling these issues. The primary goal here is to not leave anyone behind. Secondly, as the ates and kuyas of the whole Pasay community, it is our responsibility to look after our underclass and let them feel the true spirit of Pasay. I propose to include opportunities for our batch to get to know the other students and help them in whatever they need, such as academics, college applications, guidance for the senior years. Of course, interactions within the batch are also equally important to establish lifelong relationships. That said, I will strengthen the connection we have with the PTA and form an open and transparent relationship with them. This will help in the implementation of various activities such as kamustahan sessions, team building activities, and of course, prom, which will be good for the students' emotional and physical well-being. However, I also understand that not everyone is comfortable enough to interact in large groups. Therefore, I will do my best to maintain batch relationships as well as accommodate all the students by checking in and making sure that everyone has their own support system. I believe that this will really help them in the remainder of their journey in Pasay, especially with the upcoming transition between online to face-to-face. Lastly, for more centralized communication, my platforms will be in line with the after parties platforms. I will make sure that all the information needed is present and all possible questions are answered to avoid confusion and miscommunication. I will also be utilizing our batch's social media pages for more important announcements. To be honest with all of you, this is my first time running for any student government position. However, my lack of SG experience does not make me any less of a leader. Being batch gov is about putting your batch first above everything and thinking what's best for them. It's about being willing to do whatever it takes for the betterment of the batch, and I believe that I am the best person for the job. If I were chosen to be your batch gov, I will make sure to listen and accept all the necessary criticisms, opinions, and suggestions with an open mind and heart. To me, being batch gov means that the batch is always right. To batch 23, I leave it to you to vote for whoever you think is right for the position and will do you and the entirety of our batch justice. Thank you everyone for your time.
Wow! Okay, thank you so much, Sari. Sana nakuha natin yung lahat, no? Parang ang daming na-jump pack kasi nga naman ang lit-lit ng 3 minutes. Pero, yun, nakita ko talaga na may continuous themes ata sa after party list. Transparency, tapos yung centralized nila na database, I think. So, grabe ko ka-interested in seeing kung ano yung platform ng next natin na candidate kasi siya yung first natin na independent runner for grade 12 batch governor. Let's all welcome Mary Grace Espino. Mary Grace was a member of the Communication Arts Club and an assistant secretary for the Math Club. Since 2021, she has been a research member for E-Race, publication head for PAHAM, research subhead for Minerva, and deputy secretary general for the school's Model UN. So Mary Grace, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mary Grace Espino, running for the position of Grade 12 Batch Governor. To serve Batch 2023 is truly both an honor and a huge responsibility, of which I am confident I could undertake. I ran for this position because I witnessed how we struggled and persevered through hardships and victories. I know what makes us and breaks us as a batch. This gave me a good sense of what the batch could be given better circumstances. Given the chance to be batch governor, I intend to proceed with projects that fosters an environment that one, puts mental well-being first, two, empowers through recognition and allows students to pursue and excel in their passions, and three, create a sense of camaraderie within the batch and among other batches. The following are the major projects I plan to forego it. One, establish committees within the batch for projects such as a yearbook, batch legacy, and prom at the earliest date. Two, launch quarterly batch kamustahans and promote study sessions, movie nights, and game nights. Three, provide assistance in availing student services from the guidance office for mental health concerns and to coordinate with them in organizing an event like Self-Care Day. Four, provide a portal that contains resources beneficial for students' holistic growth and their future. This includes essential information for college applications and SIP opportunities. Five, provide and develop a student task profile to manage school-related tasks efficiently through updates with up-and-coming deadlines and lacking requirements. Six, host a showcase event to empower students and to recognize their talents and achievements. Seven, establish an upperclassmen, lowerclassmen buddy system to give insights on what Pisay is like face-to-face and to sustain Pisay traditions and culture. And eight, organize an intercampus online event in collaborations with other student leaders to strengthen our connections system-wide. With all of that being said, all of these plans are still drafts and open to revisions as insights, inputs, concerns from the batch are important to me. I plan to follow through these with transparency, open communication, and proper planning to help the batch bring out the best versions of themselves, exuding Eskolar ng Bayan qualities. Given the chance to bear the responsibility, I aim to govern responsibly with accountability and commitment and to serve with excellence and empathy. I hope to not only lead you, but to also lead with you. Thank you and good afternoon once again.
Thank you so much for that, Grace. And I think it's important yung sinabi niya na she doesn't only want to lead us, but she wants to be a leader of the Philippines. A fundamental quality of a leader. Now, they're not always in front of us.
Oh, nawala si Kuya Arrow. Okay lang magbalik. Ano ko lang. Asa na nga tayo?
I'm so sorry na nawala ako. Did I
Ayun,
give
balik
you a
na siya.
hard time, Sam?
No, okay lang. Bago
Did
lang ako
I give you a
nagdating.
hard time?
Si Erica siguro.
Walang dumating. Sorry guys. Intindihan niyo naman yung internet sa Pilipinas. But I'm back. And as I was saying, very important yung mga nabanggit ni Crispino. But now we will be moving on to our next candidate.
Parang
Is running
hinayata.
for batch governor of grade 11, which means viewers and who will vote eventually. Be informed, be critical, at makinig kayo ng mabuti sa mga sasabihin nila.
Ay, ganyan talaga minsan, no? Naglalag kasi Pilipinas. Nako. Kung giboto pa natin si sino yun? Si Pacquiao, na ang platform lang is internet. Sige, pero mag-continue tayo. Darating lang yun si Kuya Arrow mamaya. Thank you so much for that, Grace. Move on na tayo, no? Kasi natapos na tayo sa grade 12 natin. Dire-diretso na tayo sa batch governors natin for grade 11. Similarly, dalawa rin yung naglalaban sa posisyon na ito. Yun si Arrow. Yun, dalawa rin naglalaban sa posisyon na ito. Kasi nga, di ba, feeling ko yung mga matataas na grade levels, nakukuha na talaga nila yung responsibility. So,
they have the confidence na.
Ayun, oo. Saan na nga tayo?
So ako na magtutuloy at nakabalik na din naman ako. Okay. Tara, straightforward na tayo. Running independently, we have Keen, who was a member of the school's was dance group and of the junior ecologist club. He was also a student ambassador of the school's mental health committee, and currently he is a member of the Philippine Student Alliance lay movement and of the PSHS-SMC Model United Nations. He is a youth leader of the Philippine Youth Leadership Program, and he is the concurrent batch governor of batch 2024, which means he is running to be re-elected, and which also means na you probably know him already. But let's let him introduce himself to you once again. Keen, you have 3 minutes and start whenever you are ready.
Okay, so hello everyone. This is Kingdom Paul running again for batch governor, specifically grade 11 batch governor. So I chose to run again because I want to continue serving my batch in the next school year in our academics, school activities, extracurriculars, and more. I also decided to run again because as a batch governor, I can do so many more things to help my batch by having direct contact with the class presidents, the teachers, batch coordinator, and etc. So if I got elected, once I re-elected, I plan on doing 3 main projects for the next school year as the batch governor. Not only do I plan on continuing the platforms that I have started during my term this school year, such as the frequent updating of our matrix of assessments and keeping in touch always with our batch coordinator and teachers, but I also plan on adding new things with the goal of making the PISA experience easier for my batch, may it be academic related or not, and regardless of the setup. So kung mag face-to-face na tayo next school year, online pa rin or hybrid. So let's proceed with my platforms. The first platform would be to start making the committees for our batch graduation. requirements. So this includes the yearbook committees, the batch song committee, and the making of the batch name. Kasi I believe it's very important to start as early as we can. Uh, if we work on these apart requirements, it would be much better kasi by the time na grade 12 na tayo, we won't be as hago na. So, yun. Second, I plan on cooperating with our batches PTA to set up a batch fundraiser event so that we will have batch funds naman kasi we haven't had a batch fundraiser event for the past 2 school years, and I think we would really need these funds for our events, especially prom. So hopefully magka-prom na tayo next school year, and if my fundraiser event, I will really have the funds we will be raising would be very much helpful for this event. And lastly, I will continue the quarterly batch surveys wherein the presidents and I will be relaying the gathered concerns and suggestions from our batch in a quarterly meeting with our batch coordinator. And aside from the three platforms that I have mentioned, I will also be looking for more ways to help my batch by asking and listening to their comments and suggestions on what I can do for them, since feedback always plays an important role in being a good leader. Once again, I am Kingdom Pao, running for grade 11 batch governor. That's it from me, po.
Ayun. Thank you so much for that, Keen. Iba talaga pag tried and tested na, no? Pero of course, minsan, kailangan natin magtingin sa iba't iba pa na mga options natin. So, yun, kahit na muntik ako nakaiyak sa pag-mention ng prom, and I really do hope makuha niyo yung mga wala namin nakuha for our batch. Pero kailangan natin mag-move on sa isa pa natin na grade 11 batch gov runner, di ba? Under the after party list is Gabrielle Dwayne C. Dakiwag. Gabrielle served as a class mayor, a PIO for the school Model UN, and was a member of Scholars for Scholars, Wings, and Robotics Club for a year each. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Gabrielle, and whenever you're ready po.
To my batchmates, schoolmates, and teachers, a pleasant afternoon to all of you. My name is Gabrielle Dwayne Dakiwag, and I'm running for the position of grade 11 batch governor because I believe that I am responsible enough to help our batch improve on information dissemination, mental health, student relations, and transparency. I am running after the Advocates for Truth, Empowerment, and Responsibility, or AFTER party. I intend to help our batch communicate with each other and our teachers better, so that no one will be left behind in their academics or in other school affairs. I will always listen with an open heart and mind so that I may help you with any concerns you may have. To help improve communication and information dissemination, I plan to establish a centralized platform for all memos and announcements concerning any academic affairs and assessments. The centralized platform will act as a bulletin board on the social media platform most used or preferred by our batch, like Twitter or Discord. I will ensure that our teachers are involved in this platform so that they are well aware of all our school matters and that there will be less conflicts in our schedules. This platform is also where all events or contests or other extracurricular opportunities will be posted so that no one will miss out on them. To help us cope with the academic workload and encourage teamwork and cooperation within our batch, I plan to establish an academic committee drive which will serve as a repository for notes, reviewers, and other supplemental learning materials. All contributions to this academic committee drive will be voluntary. And as we are expected to return to an in-person learning setup, I plan to hold ice-breaking activities that will help us overcome social isolation after being apart for more than 2 school years and get used to working with and being around each other. I am committed to leadership with an optimistic vision and a passion for service, and I will do my best to make the school year 2022 to 2023 more memorable, enjoyable, and less stressful if I am given the honor of being your grade 11 batch governor. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dwayne. And as we all might have noticed, Dwayne is a really good speaker. Nakasama ko din siya sa MUN, and I can attest to that. Pero hopefully words are translated into visible actions. And now we will be moving on to our grade 9 batch governor candidate. And kung napapansin niyo, we will be going straight to the grade 9 candidate dahil unfortunately, wala tayong representative running for the grade 10 batch governor. Pero kahit ganun pa, it's not gonna be, hindi naman magiging magulo bigla yung school year ninyo without a batch governor. But instead, it's a call for grade 10 aspiring leaders na perhaps you'd find something in yourself, something unselfish to stand up for the batch. With that said, now on we'll be moving on to our grade 9 batch governor candidate. She is running unopposed under the after party list. Marita was a class president and is currently a member of the PSHS MUN organization. But don't let the short resume cloud your judgment. Kahit pa maiksi lang yung resume niya, pakinggan nyo pa rin siya. Let's give it up for Marita Natasha Bautista. You have 3 minutes and you can start whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, Philippine Science High School Southern Mindanao Campus, admin, teachers, and students. My name is Marita Natasha P. Bautista. I am currently a grade 8 student from the section Dahlia 2, and I am running to be your next grade 9 batch governor with my party, the After Party List. A few things to know about me. I love leadership, management, and a good power suit moment. The reason why I wanted to run as the next grade 9 batch governor is that the 2026 batch deserves someone who is willing to put so much of themselves into this work. I plan to emancipate the batch's talents. The past few years, people have become hesitant to become leaders and grasp opportunities of greatness. I want to promote the confidence to grasp it. Batch 2026 is an incredibly talented batch. Well, there must be a reason they got into this school in the first place. The project that I want to highlight is the complete improvement of the batch website. This batch website was created in batch 2026, first year in PSI, with its incredible grade 7 batch governor, Johan Perez, with a suggestion from Ravia L. Rodriguez. It held many amenities that assisted students, such as subject information, learning guides, and other amenities, but it was discontinued the next year. With its relaunching, new amenities, such as a bulletin board for announcements, a gallery of art, and a collage of major events. Additionally, I am willing to add more to its amenities with suggestions and comments of the student body. The beauty and brilliance of it is that not one person can make this a beautiful project. With the plans for face-to-face learning, I plan to work closely with the recommendations of the guidance unit. I plan to spread all the information available to avoid necessary confusion. I want to make a giant quilt thread of the talent and personality of this batch that will comfort and warm the next. I lead with my heart and soul. I lead with an open mind, a warm heart, a single vision, but with a wandering eye for possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. That was a really, really good speech. Moving on to our very last candidate. Ito na talaga yung pinaka-last natin and ang pinaka-bata natin araw, no? So, makailak man sad ko babies natin, our fledglings, kahit na wala ko pa sila na-meet. From batch 2027, running independent and unopposed. For grade 8 governor is Martina Carmel D. Balcova. Hi, whenever you're ready, your time will start at the first word uttered. Good luck.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Martina Balcaba of grade 7 Gold, and I am running for the position as grade 8's upcoming batch governor. As this is my first time to run and serve, I will be a good follower of the incoming president. Even though I have no specific events planned out, I fully support the events planned by the SG president and the school as well as the other members of the student government. I will also try to impart ideas that will help fast track the plans made. Being a representative of my batch in the student government, I will serve as the gateway between the two. To raise grade 8's voice on any matter would be the priority on my end. Once again, I am Martina Balcoba and I am running for grade 8 batch governor.
Ayun. Short and sweet. So, narinig na natin ang lahat ng candidates natin for today, di ba? 10 sila na candidates, Arrow. And now that we've gotten a glimpse into our candidates' reasons and prepared plans, as well as their projects for their hopeful terms, let's now see how they fare under pressure of the COMELEC's questions. Ako, personally, Arrow, aside from the debate, ito talaga yung pinaka hinihintay ko. 'Di ba? Kasi wala tayong debate ngayon. Pero ako, yung mga speeches kanina, although nakikinig talaga ako dun, feeling ko kasi medyo prepared, 'di ba? Dito, dito Arrow, makikita talaga natin kung ano ba talaga yung thought process ng ating mga kandidato. So, in this section, they will be answering questions that the COMELEC has prepared and personally crafted for each candidate. Ano nga ba mechanics natin for this section, Arrow?
So for our mechanics, the question will only be asked, will only be read twice, and they will have 30 seconds of prep time, ayan, para makapag-isip sila ng sagot, and then 2 minutes of speaking time. And then the updates for the time, you know already candidates na you can check it sa chat. Also, ayaw kong isipin natin na this is a task na yung candidates lang involved, guys. As viewers kasi, I hope na you are also cognitively involved. Dahil, sino pa ba yung makikinig sa mga answers nila, di ba? Sino ba yung dapat na, who will be the ones to vote? So it's yourselves informed. So, without further ado, let's proceed na with our Q&A.
Ayun, parang humihina na naman si Kuya Arrow. So, tapusin na lang natin, no? Yun, sinabi nga ni Kuya Arrow, di ba, na kailangan talaga natin maging involved kasi tayo yung boboto. So, pagkatapos nitong questions natin from the COMELEC, syempre, bibigyan namin ng chance ang audience, di ba, na magtanong talaga ng mga questions nila and concerns nila para sa mga kandidato nila. Kasi, of course, sila naman yung isa-serve ng ating candidates for the next year. So, ayun, magsisimula tayo sa parehas lang pa rin na order. So, for the presidential candidate, ready na ba tayo, James? Thumbs up if okay na? Okay. So, your 30-second prep time, again, will begin after the second reading of the question. James, here is your question. What are the gaps of the previous administration and how would you address them? Again, what are the gaps of the previous administration and how would you address them? Thinking time is up. 2 minutes starts now.
For me, visibility and transparency are the gaps that I've noticed in the SG. I've noticed that whenever the SG does something, it usually takes time for most of the student body to know what they're doing, or if not, they really don't know anything at all. So to address this, I've actually said this in my opening speech. The SG memos and the SG transparency drive, it's really an effort to improve information dissemination and transparency through regular updates and making guidelines on events, announcements accessible to the student body. We would really help. It would really help in improving this aspect. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, James. And narinig din 'yon ng ating ng the past administration, and pretty sure they're not offended naman. It's important kasi na in leadership, hindi to palakasan eh. It's not about maintaining good relationships. It's also about being objective. It's about being honest to yourself and having the right humility to understand na may mga pagkukulang talaga. Now we'll be moving on for ang next nating gigisahin, ang ating candidate for SVP. We have Ciara to, di ba? Are you ready? Okay. Okay, nag-thumbs up na. So your question will be, when controversies arise and the student government is expected to make a statement, but this could potentially affect your relationship with the MANCOM, how will you respond? I repeat, when controversies arise and the student government is expected to make a statement, but this could potentially affect your relationship with the MANCOM, how will you respond? Your 30 minutes prep time begins now.
First and foremost, the student government is an organization built for the students. So if ever a controversy were to arise, I would like to prioritize the thoughts of the majority of the student body first. And if possible, I would like to see things eye to eye with the MANCOM itself. I would like to prioritize mutual understanding between both sides to see where are the differences and how we could ever resolve them. And in the end, that if it is not really possible to see things eye to eye with the MANCOM, then I would like to prioritize the feelings of the student body as they are the ones which we will serve. And however, since the relationship with the MANCOM is also important, I think that it's also wise to try to help them understand our point of view, even if they cannot accept it. That is all. Thank you.
Yun. Rinig sana yun ng everyone, no? So, mag-try talaga tayo create ng balance kasi of course, nagka-coexist talaga ang student government natin with the MANCOM, whether we like it or not. So, it's a very relevant question talaga. Thank you for that, Yara. Now, let's move on to our candidate for Junior Vice President, Angeli. Your question is the following. Given the possibility of face-to-face next year, how are you able to ensure social media engagement will still be managed properly? Again, let me repeat. Given the possibility of face-to-face next year, how are you able to ensure that social media engagement will still be managed properly? Time starts now.
So my plan in order to ensure that if there is to be face-to-face next year, I would be able to ensure social media engagement by aiding in the improvement of the PSHS SMC student government FB page or other social medias. If possible, I would also encourage the expansion of platforms in order for it to reach a wider audience within the school population. I would also try to advocate for recruiting non-SG volunteers to aid in the technical, creative, and other aspects of PSHS SMC social media platforms, because one thing I've noticed is that when it comes to electing new leaders in the PSHS SMC, one problem is the lack of people who are able to manage things such as the technical and creative aspects when it comes to events or when it comes to information dissemination. I want to be able to allow non-SG members to contribute towards improving the enhancement of information dissemination. For more than half of the student population will be comprised of junior year students, and by next school year, each junior batch will all have roughly 120 students. So by next school year, the number of students in our school will inevitably increase. So by being more open to recruiting people outside of SG, then we would be able to ensure that social media engagement will still be properly managed. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Anjali. So, very kahit unprepared pa yung naging question and answer, I'm pretty sure na he answered very sufficiently. So, now we will be moving on to you'll be now asking our candidate for treasurer. So, Paika, are you ready? Ready ka na ba? So, I believe ready na si Maika. Your question, okay, maganda ka na. Given that this is always expected from the treasurer, what does your platform on transparency entail? So given that this is always expected from the treasurer, what does your platform on transparency entail? Your 30 seconds starts now.
May I clarify po the question? What does it mean by entail po?
Okay. So
Just
I think the
means,
question refers to
yeah, it's just asking what your platform for transparency is, like the details of it.
Ay, okay.
kasi 'di ba parang always expected naman yung transparency from you. Pero what are the specifics? What are the steps?
Okay, so for our parties and my plans for transparency, it would include the SG Transparency Drive, which it will have a folder for financial reports, receipts, and all the money that comes in and out um of our hands. So this can be viewed by everyone, including the students, the teachers, the manpower. So through this drive, anyone can check it, so it will be transparent. Also, we will be holding quarterly reports, as I said kanina in my speech, and these quarterly reports, this can be open sa whole student body. So if they have any questions, like, hala, bakit yan be used for that? It can be addressed. And also the budget, the expenses, it can be also discussed by everyone. So yun yung platform talaga namin na all the information is available for everyone, so that hindi lang kami lang yung double check, because there are some things talaga na maybe ma-oversee namin, ay ma-overlook namin, and the student body can really help with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Micah. Tama talaga, no? Kasi especially ngayon na mag-face-to-face na siguro, medyo malaki-laki na rin talaga yung gagawin ng treasurer natin for the handling of funds and sa mga events na mangyayari next year. So I'm really excited for kung paano magpa-pan out yung platform nyo as of now if you do get elected. Pero moving on now to our batch governors. Start tayo from the very top, from our graduating batch, grade 12. So, since si Sari ang nagsimula sa candidate speeches kanina, di ba? Magsimula naman tayo ngayon kay Mary Grace. Mary Grace, can I get a thumbs up? If okay na? Okay. So this is your question. The role of being the batch gov for a graduating batch is often underestimated, and a strong willpower is needed to push through. With this, what is your main reason for why you're choosing to run for your batch now of all times? Again, the role of being the batch governor for a graduating batch is often underestimated, and a strong willpower is needed to push through. With this, what is your main reason for why you're choosing to run for your batch now of all times? Time starts now.
I ran for this position because I believe that the batch deserves to be well represented and served by someone who has genuine interest in service, is responsible, can be accounted for their actions committed, and someone who could serve with excellence. And I believe that I have all of these qualities, even if carrying such a great burden. What really pushed me to run for batch governor is my genuine love, care, and concern for the batch that goes above and beyond. I've seen what the batch is capable of, and that only gave me hope and excitement to see what our batch could grow into as individuals and as a whole. I believe that even though the task is daunting, the batch is there for me and I'm there for the batch. I may be someone who is new to being part of the student government. However, I believe that I have shown my capabilities as a leader time and time again. I'm all for offering help for my batchmates and everyone. Through days, I find genuine joy in helping and serving others to the best of my capabilities and slowly build confidence in myself. And I know that I have what it takes to become a leader, someone who takes initiative, who is willing to listen, and someone willing to help. And with the right platform and job to do so, I could help more people and the batch more and to a greater extent. Thank you.
I guess that is all. Thank you so much for that, Sam. And I think your response is can be summarized with one of the comments sa ating stream. Ang sinabi, leading with grace. And I like that. So, for the next person who will be answering the question, ang kanyang makakatunggali sa posisyong ito. Sari, are you ready? Just thumbs up if you are. Okay, ready na si Sari. So this is your question. Most of your platforms are centered around the batch as a functioning unit, but there are none focusing on the batch as graduates. What do you have to say about this? So this is regarding your platforms. I repeat, most of your platforms are centered around the batch as a functioning unit, but there are none focusing on the batch as graduates. What do you have to say about this? Your 30 seconds starts now.
As graduates, I believe that our one of our main responsibilities is to focus on our underclass and take care of them because we, as ates and kuyas, it is our responsibility to really let them feel the Pisay spirit. And I believe this is one of the main platforms I have. So, yan yung isa sa platforms ko. Other than that, mga grad requirements natin, including the yearbook and the batch name as graduates, I understand that there's a lot of hardships that will be experienced in that. So how I will address that is I will enlist the help of non-SG officers, elected and non-elected officers. Gagawa ako ng mga committees for that so that the full burden won't fall on a single person and that the responsibilities will be spread out. For the students, the committees will be there and it will be open to all. Kasi I really believe that batch participation is important. As well as in addition, the PTA will also be helpful because as graduates, we have a lot of activities that we must have. So with the PTA there to guide us, so they will help us in our funding and budgeting and studios para sa photoshoot natin or sa location, ganun. I believe that the batch is truly a functioning unit and this really does fall under us as graduates because we graduate together, we start and end together, and that I believe is the most important thing. Thank you.
Okay, so nakarinig na tayo from our two grade 12 batch governor runners. Ako personally, bilib na bilib talaga ako sa mga nag-gun for batch gov sa grade 12, you know, kasi sobrang rami nilang responsibilities. Sometimes, medyo mas marami pa sa execom kasi graduating na kayo, di ba? So, shout out lang kay Angelo De Vera. Thank you, Jello. And I hope na magawa niyo talaga yung responsibilities niyo for next year. Buhay pa ba ang everyone? Buhay pa siguro yan sila. So, dire-diretso na lang tayo, no? Papunta na tayo sa ating grade 11 batch governors. Ito rin yung isa pang batch na may dalawa tayong pagpipilian. So, mauna tayo kay Gabriel. Gabriel, thumbs up if you're there.
I'm here pa.
Okay. Okay, so sabihin ko na ang question mo ha, twice ko siya i-read and your timer will start when I finish the second reading of it. So this is your question. Given that you are running against your current batch governor, what makes you the better candidate apart from the experience that you have as a former class president? Again, given that you are running against your current batch governor, what makes you the better candidate apart from the experience that you have as a former class president? Two-minute starts now.
Given that me and Keen do work towards the same thing, I really can't say that one of us is better than the other. But because I work towards certain things like the academic committee, the improved communication, and with my other experiences, I do think that I would be better in pursuing these certain platforms. Keen is very good in terms of continuity and the things that he intends to do. And if I am elected as batch gov, I intend to continue all the good things that he has done for our batch. But if I am elected batch gov, I hope to continue I hope to bring new platforms and other things that I believe that I am best to handle, especially the academic committee and the whole improved communication. I believe my experience as a good speaker and in other events and as volunteer work, I believe that contributes to me being better in leading these certain projects. So both of us do work towards the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dwayne. And nakaka-pressure talaga when you're asked that question. Dahil alam ko namang magkaibigan kayo ng kalaban mong candidate. And it's hard. It's hard to try and argue na you're better. But certainly because you chose to run, you know you are most qualified. Kaya naman this time, we'd like to give the opponent the opportunity. So, Kin, are you ready na for your question? Ayan.
Ready po.
Kin
Yeah.
is ready. So this is your question. With you being the current batch governor of your batch's next governor, I repeat, with you being the current batch governor, how are you sure that you are still qualified to be your batch's next batch governor? Your 30 seconds.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure even though na I'm the current batch governor, I'm still very much qualified to be the next batch governor kasi I haven't just shown my leadership skills during this school year. It happened way back from grade 8 nung ako pa ang PIO, and even in grade 9 ako pa yung PIO. Although it's not parang ka-same level na sa student government talaga siya na position. I have proven to my batchmates over and over again that I am willing enough to actually sacrifice a portion of my time for them and to in order to help them. So if I become batch governor next school year, I can reassure my batch na my performance will be not just the same, but it would be better, especially since papasok na kami sa SYP, and it would mean na the batch governor would have to be very much active sa roles ng sa experience ng sa experience namin as a batch. So I think na I have proven myself nga yung not just as a batch governor for the school year, but also as a class officer for the past 2 school years. So yun po, I'm pretty sure na I'm still very much qualified to be the next batch governor of my batch po. Yun na po from me.
There we go. Dun sa naghahanap ng debate kanina, I guess that's as close as we're gonna get today. Pero, ayun, di ba? Napaka-importante kasi talaga ng trabaho nila for this year. And they really do know na kahit magkaibigan sila, I hope the batch really chooses who they think is going to do the best for next year. And I hope walang bad blood between them, di ba? Pero jump na tayo kaagad to our grade 9s. Wala nga grade 10. Pero sa only natin na runner for grade 9 batch governor, Natasha, are you there? Thumbs up, please. Okay. So, again, twice ko babasahin. Your question is, what is currently lacking in your batch, and how do you aim to change this once elected? Again, what is currently lacking in your batch, and how do you aim to change this once elected? Your time starts now.
Okay, good afternoon. So I want to focus on two major problems. The first one is student engagement and communication. So the first one, student engagement, people have, as I said in my speech, people have become hesitant to become leaders and take jobs of responsibility. And I want to help foster and I want to empower people so they will be able to engage. a safe space to engage. So one of my first projects is the batch website, which will provide tasks for people to showcase their talents. If they don't want to provide jobs for people to facilitate it, so to make the website. And if you don't want to facilitate, you can also submit your works to the gallery that I plan to make. And you can also add more to the website because I will be following people's answers. Next is for communication. The batch website will also take care of this problem. So for communication, we've been using many modes such as Messenger, email, and GCs. So the problem with this is that there's so many and there's no one way to find information. And most of the time it's in Messenger, but not all people have Facebook. So I plan to use the batch website for this. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Marita. And I understand na I think many of the gaps and the issues na nahanap ni Marita or that she was able to bring up are direct symptoms ng online classes talaga. Because I know they haven't experienced face-to-face. So hopefully when we transition to face-to-face, dahan-dahan ding ma-alleviate itong problems na ito so that the leadership becomes more effective. Now ay tutungo naman tayo sa ating very last candidate who will be answering a question. And this will be from our sole batch, grade 8 batch governor candidate. So Martina, are you ready? Ayan, being the last one. Sana hindi ka masyadong napagod. And sana may brain cells ka pa to respond, diba? So this is your question. With the possibility of face-to-face classes happening next year, how can you help your batchmates have an easier transition from the online setup? I repeat, with the possibility of face-to-face classes happening next year, how can you help your batchmates have an easier transition from the online setup? Your 30 seconds prep time.
To help my batchmates in transitioning from the online setup to the face-to-face classes, I will help them as best as I can. Obviously, I will try to help them with their assignments if they're quite confused, especially since most of us are doing it digitally, like in Canva or in MS Word. I would also help them with like contacting teachers because most of the contacting during face-to-face classes would be through the faculty rooms, and some students might be afraid or shy to talk to their teachers one-on-one. I would also recommend to them that taking baby steps like trying to socialize more with others would help them, and that even even small steps like those would be able to help them to have a brighter future. Thank you.
And we're finally done sa ating second na section on row. Parang nakakakalahati na tayo, no? Di ba? 4 ang events natin for the day's meeting, di Avance?
4 ba? Hindi ako sigurado kung 4. Oo ba? Hindi na nga lahati na nga tayo.
Nakakalahati na tayo kasi pagkatapos nito, meron na tayong yung bago natin na event, yung lightning round natin, tinatawag nating isang salita. Pero
Isang salita.
Oo, isang salita. And then, ang pinaka-last talaga nun is yung pinaka-importante, di ba? Yung ating audience participation sa ating open forum. Kaya naman...
Oo nga pala. Yun yung nalimutan kong event.
Oo, yun talaga.
Pero ngayon pa lang sana, ngayon pa lang sana, gusto ko maramdaman na natin yung audience. Are you still alive ba? Nakinig ba kayo ng mabuti? Or did that help you decide? Lalo dun sa mga batches with two running candidates, was that supplemental? And doon naman sa mga
Gusto ko bang sinusuportahan
batches
yun?
na isa lang yung tumakbo, di ba? Did you grow more confident with your candidate o parang medyo kinabahan kayo? Parang I need to know more about this candidate after hearing their responses. So for now, gusto ko na mabasa na lang muna yung chats ninyo. Ayan. Chat na lang the names of the candidate. Ayan, yes daw. At lang, may mga shoutout dito na ayaw kong
Ayun, my
basahin.
supporter si Marta.
Basahin natin to. Ayan, sabi, opo, buhay pa from kanina pa to. Buhay na buhay pa daw sila.
Oh, buti pa kayo.
Mabuti naman. And may naghihintay ng open forum. Actually, back when, of course, nung makaka-vote pa kami, I would always wait for the forum then because napakaraming questions na remains unaddressed. And ang hirap naman, di ba, na, na your candidate answers the questions when elected na sila, di ba? Mas maganda na before they're elected, they're scrutinized na right away.
Syempre naman, there's very little time na rin, no? If i-jump pack mo dun sa 3 minutes, di na rin makukuha ng lahat. So, ayun, I hope na i-avail talaga ng people yung open forum natin mamaya. Di ba? Ayun.
Sana nakinig kayo, guys. Lightning round gaya ba sa KMJ? As hindi ako familiar. Hindi ako familiar sa lightning round ng...
Jessica, so...
Alam ko nga, pero hindi ako familiar dun sa lightning round. Anong lightning round na segment?
Parang ganito yung arrow, pero isang salita rin yun, di ba? Pero sa puso ko yata, parang isang word lang talaga siya. Dito, may iba tayong mechanic. So, continue na ba tayo sa mechanics natin, arrow? Para
Sa tingin ko, pwede natin tumuloy. Oo, then parang, baka maubusan ng momentum at mabawasan pa tayo ng viewers. Tawagin nyo na yung mga friends nyo guys, sabihin nyo na the candidates will be, will be tested differently and, non-traditionally. So, call your friends and perhaps, let's brief them na of what the next segment will be.
Okay, sige. So, i-brief na natin sila araw, no? Yun nga, ang tawag ng ating next segment ay isang salita o one word. Hindi yata to surprise sa ating mga candidates, pero para sa ating audience, explain na lang natin ulit yung mechanics. So, gaya nga sa sinabi, candidates will be given 2 photos each na ilalarawan nila. Pero syempre, sunod-sunod siya. May isang photo na magpa-flash sa screen. Pagkatapos, bibigyan sila ng 30 seconds. Magsisimula yung timer pagka-flash ng photo sa screen, di ba, Arrow? Tama ba?
So basically, may picture, and then dapat pabilisan talaga to ng utak eh. When the picture is flashed, you don't have time to think. The first thing that appears, so naman yung nasa intuition mo, you give it out, and then you explain. So basically, we measure here yung perception, yung critical thinking, and kung how they work well under pressure for the candidates.
So ito kahit tayo, di ba, Aaron, hindi natin alam kung ano yung pictures mamaya.
Oo, wala pa din kaming idea kung ano yung pictures na lalabas.
So, pati yung mga candidates
also guys, we want you to participate pala ha.
Sulat nyo sa
When
chat.
you see the picture, mag-comment din kayo. I-comment nyo din kung what is that one word that you think perfectly encapsulates. Leave the explaining to the candidates themselves. Pero, parang lubos pa talaga nilang maintindihan some. Perhaps we should give them or show them a trial kung paano nga ba gaganapin ang event na to. Ikaw ang you will be put under the test. Are you ready, Sam?
Ready as I'll ever be, Arrow.
Ready as you'll ever be. Ang tanong yung tech natin, ready ba?
In the spirit of our
yung picture for
Ay, again lang yung timer natin.
Handa na ba yung picture for Sam?
Asan ba magpapop ang...
For the candidates.
For again, Arrow?
Ang picture, hindi. makikita na nila sa stream yan, the picture. So, ayan. So, babaybay ka na lang din siguro sa stream if you want to have a clear picture of the... Okay. So, we'll start muna with the trial round. Enzo, can you flash the picture for Sam? You will have 30 seconds, Sam, to think of the word and then give us an explanation.
Parang may delay pa yata to araw, no? Kasi sa stream natin makikita yung, ipipm daw. Ayun. May
Okay.
bagong tayo.
Okay. So now, the picture, shall be flashed. Kaya, aantayin natin yung cue para makita na ni Sam yung kanyang picture so we can test it out.
ipipm daw, araw. Bago lang sinabi ng ating tech
Oo
team.
nga. Okay, oo. Nasa GC pala siya, makikita. So,
Makikita daw siya
for
sa
the
screen,
candidates,
pero-
makita niyo sa GC yung picture at the same time. Okay.
Sige, I
Hintayin
am
natin
ready.
yung parang handang-handa na si Sam. Yung picture na lang, aabangan natin. Wait lang. Papakita natin yung picture. Ay, hindi na ba? Ayan. Ipapakita
Ayun!
sa stream yung picture. Oo.
Okay. Kilig. So, ewan ko sa inyo, pero nung nakita ko talaga yung video nito, kahit hindi ko kilala si Richie, kinilig talaga ako. And in a way, I think politics and the elections are very similar to relationships. Kasi, there's a lot of implicit trust. May mga promises na baka napapako lang, di ba? At syempre, pag nanliligaw pa yung mga kandidato natin, pinakikilig talaga nila tayo with all of their promises and their platforms. Pero, ang tanong talaga is paninindigan ka ba? So, of course, they will say anything that will give you their vote. Pero, I assure you na kung ako yung iboboto nyo, hindi titigil dito yung kilig. Kasi, paninindigan ko kayo. Hindi ko alam kay Richie, hindi ko alam sa mga kandidato dito, pero vote for me and I will give you kilig for the rest of the year. Thank you. Ayun, sumakto ba yung sa oras,
Perfect.
Aro?
Ganon, guys. Oo, ganon. Naintindihan niyo ba, candidates? Did Sam set the bar too high ba for all of you? Diba? That one word daw is kilig. And isang salita lang talaga, baka biglang pagkaganon yung picture, sabihin niyo Richie Rivero, dalawang words na yan, diba? Follow tayo sa instructions. Often, we'd hear from the candidates words that we want to hear. Pero we have to be selective, guys, as viewers, as voters. Kung aling promises yung we would want to hold on to, para hindi tayo masyado masaktan. Diba? Kasi sometimes it gets too idealistic. So we have to be critical judges of these people. And I guess naipakita na ni Sam. Ay, huwag yung botohin si Sam, please. People are saying, Charmaine for president daw.
Oo, sabi nga ni Buligan Redacted dito sa chat, sabi niya, ang word niya daw is basketball. Bakit kaya? Baka kasi binobola niyo lang kami, ha? Hindi, feeling ko naman mga trustworthy talaga itong mga kandidato natin dito. Pero parang
Tsaka kami kasi kami kasi ni Sam, we are good with the talk, but with the walk, baka medyo alanganin. So, keep your trust na lang for the candidates. Siguro pa rin tayo magsimula with our first candidate and our first picture. Kanino ba tayo magsisimula this time? Still with the president, no? Okay. Okay, you may call him na, ayan, nandito na. James, are you ready? Thumbs up kung handa ka na sa picture mo. Okay, thumbs up na. So James, pagka na-flash yung picture, your 30 seconds will start. And then, there are no prepping time, okay? You give the word, you give your explanation. That's it. So, if you're ready, Tech, you may now, flash the picture.
My word is government. For me, governments are really important because they serve as the voice of the people. And governments need to work together with the people and listen to them. It's really important because students really need to be heard so that their concerns will be addressed and then their well-being will be improved. Thank you.
So the word was government. Ikaw, Sam, what would have been your word had you seen that picture? Siguro, ako
Sorry, Araw, di ko nakita yung
building,
picture
ganun.
eh. So, kukopyahin ko
Ay,
na
hindi mo
lang
ba
government
nakita?
din natin.
Anyways, government, actually yung building. Pero we'll move on na to the next picture dahil dapat tuloy-tuloy ito, no? Let's flash na the next picture for, James. One word, one explanation. Tech, you may send the picture now, and then James, pag nakita yung picture, you may begin.
My word is leader. I think the values here encapsulate what a leader must be: honesty, integrity, and respect. When a leader has these things, he or she can lead well and serve the people well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And ayan, siguro hindi naman nakita ni Sam yung picture. Nakita mo ba yung picture, Sam?
Hindi, nakita ko yun. Ang word
Nakita
ko
mo
doon
na
ay
doon. The
moral.
signboards, di ba? Diba?
Yung
Ang word
sinabi
ko
ni
siguro doon ay, ano ba? Arrows. Kasi, di ba? Pwede na.
Thank you so much
Sige.
for that, Neil. They work well under pressure,
Thank you so
Araw.
much for that, James. Very short, oo. Work well under pressure. Pati yan yung kaya pa, baka may mga, ano, baka kaya higitan ng other candidates. Baka may mga creative pa silang mga approach this game. Ara, if handa ka na.
Oo. So, Yara,
Okay.
thumbs up if okay na.
Okay, I think she is ready. Tech, you may flash the picture if you are ready na din. Once you see the picture, Yara, your 30 seconds will begin.
So my word is communication. So Discord naman ginagamit siguro ng majority ng people. Tapos dito nakikiusap, dito nakikibonding with people. So like the government, we have to maintain a clear communication with the student body so that we are able to get our thoughts through and our belief and our goals will align. That's all.
Okay, very short, pero totally
Okay, medyo
making
namamatay si
sense.
Araw.
Ako, very familiar with the picture. All the useless things. Pero right now, am I gone? Okay, feel ko medyo stable. So, I leave it up for the tech na lang to flash the next picture. And Yara, once you're ready and once you see it, you may begin.
My word would be remote since it's remote learning. We are not able to see people physically, but we are still, like the first people, are still able to communicate with others. And no matter how hard it may be by not having any physical communication with other people, as long as we are able to see each other, even if through remote means, then we are able to help each other.
I guess that's it. Thank you so much, Yara. I would like to, merong interesting answer from the chat with regards to sa picture ng Discord. Sabi niya, election is like Discord. The ones close to the mods often gets, privileges. So, they think, that the system has, innately na po, there's nepotism innately in the system. Sana sa mga leaders ngayon na nakikinig, di ba? Wala dong palakasan, okay, sa leaders.
Oo. Importante talaga, especially, pero nakita ko Araw na parang ang dami sa kanila na kasali sa plataforma nila ngayon yung transparency. So, I hope that really goes well for them, no? Na wala na
I hope that the
parang,
decisions made are really for the betterment of everyone.
oo. So, again, thank you for that,
Okay,
Yara.
I guess we can move on to our next.
To our junior vice president, elector, si
And now
Angeline
we'll be
Alden
having
Panagino.
our tama.
Angeline, thumbs up if you're
Anjali,
ready.
ganito kung ready ka na.
Bago na
Okay,
no.
ayan, ready na.
So, tech team, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, team, whenever you're ready, flash the picture at nang makita ni Anjali. Okay.
For this picture, I am able to see the word connection. I think that connection is very important when it comes to being a leader because it allows understanding between the student government and the student body. And I think that having connection such as in social media, such as Twitter, we would be able to work better as a community towards our success.
Very good response. Kasi with Twitter, the first thing I think siguro is ranting or ano ba, kalandian, ganun. Ganun mga bagay madalas makita sa Twitter eh.
Parang very
Okay, let's
student-based
move on.
Twitter sa Pitay, no? Hindi
Parang
katulad ng
alin?
Facebook. For example, ang Twitter talaga, parang mga estudyante lang talaga yung nandun. So, I do hope
I
magamit natin.
think mas isolated yung community. And often, there's the
Oo, tama yan, Arrow. Let's move on now.
echo
Classic.
chamber. Pagka nandun ka sa Twitter, you think everything is beyond the peripheries of our... Sure, flash it, tech team. Let's go.
Go, go, go.
Teka lang, kuya, mute po kayo.
I'm so sorry.
You can start again. Okay, unmute.
From this picture, I am able to see the word unity. I think that aside from being a leader who is good at leadership and inspiring confidence within the student body, you should be someone who's also encouraging unity within your community, for it allows better connection within the student body and allows us to dedicate our growth and development process to our constituents.
Unity. Ayun. United ba tayo dun sa picture na yun, Arrow? Parang batch natin yun ah. Sinagwen yata yun eh. Diyan pa ba si Arrow? Ako personally, excited talaga ako para sa inyo next year na maka-labs na talaga kayo again. And I do hope mas united kayo than us and hindi kayo magsige-away sa mga equipments natin sa labs, you know. Pero, ayun, thank you so much, Anjali, for those answers. And move on na tayo sa ating treasurer, Micah. Asan ka ba? Pag ganun daw, if nandyan ka.
Nandito po.
Okay, ayun siya. Okay, sige. Tech team, ready na daw si Micah. So, whenever you're ready, please flash the first photo on the screen.
The first word I think of is juggle, because the guy is juggling, and I think this is very important in being a student leader, since we do need to juggle our academics and our responsibilities to the school, and especially ngayon na mag-college na kami, kailangan mag-prepare na din kami for yung mga applications, mga exams, and I think that's a good quality that leaders should have, being able to juggle a lot of things.
Yes, I think no, na yun talaga yung first word na nag-come sa everyone's mind. But the interpretation is really, really good and very relevant sa ating election today. So thank you for that. Move on na tayo kaagad sa ating second na word, na photo.
Um, the first word I can think of is transparency. As we can see, the ball is very transparent and it allows for clarity. And I think this is what our party wants to bring out. We want to clear the blur. We want to make sure that everyone understands what's happening.
Yun, hindi ko alam kung anong word ang ibibigay ko doon. So, very important yata talaga ang transparency for our treasurer. Ano. Thank you for that, Micah. Natapos na tayo sa ating exicom. Papunta na tayo sa ating batch gov representatives. So, for this section, magsisimula tayo again kay Sari. So, Sari, are you there? Ayun siya. Okay. So, for grade 12 batch governor, first up is Sari. Whenever the tech team is ready, please flash the first photo on the screen.
The first word is match. I believe that matches are made because of destiny and fate, and I believe it is my destiny to be the batch governor because I believe that this match is made by fate. But in all seriousness, a match lights up someone's life, a match lights up the world and everything. I believe that is the true meaning to be a batch gov, is to light up everyone's talents and the batch and just light up the world. Thank you. Yes.
Nandiyan ka na ba, Arrow? That's a very,
I'm
very
back
positive na
and
word.
nagustuhan ko yung answer. Nagustuhan ko yung wordplay.
Ang positive, Arrow, no? Kasi ako, ang answer ko yung burnout.
Match.
Para yung nasa gitna.
Burnout or kaya ano na no?
Sad na yung nasa gitna. So sana naman,
ganun words,
student
no?
leaders, sana naman as student leaders hindi kayo ma-burnout, no? Kasi nga, I really do hope na this is a match made in heaven. So, from that cute answer, balik na tayo sa second na
Okay, tama na yung tama na yung bulahan. Let's move on na to our next picture tech team.
This picture gives me the word equality. I believe that equality is very important. Doesn't matter kung anong difference sa size, gender, sa race, or whatever. Kahit sa batch natin, iba-iba ating talents, iba-iba ating capacities, iba-iba ating kakayahan. And I think that we should all be treated equally and that we should all help one another. Kasi yun nga, no one gets left behind. Thank you.
Yes, I really do hope na ma-achieve niyo yan. Equality and equity. Thank you so much for that. So sa batch, virtual round of applause ating first na candidate for grade 12 batch governor. We're gonna move on now sa ating second na kandidato, di ba? Mary Grace, ready ka na ba? Ready na siya. So, ang tech team na lang ginahintay natin. Whenever you're ready.
The picture shows a burnt out math, so my word would be burnout. As a student leader, especially being a grade 12 batch governor, you're going to handle a lot of tasks and a lot of responsibilities. So you have to prevent burnout from yourself. Nah, you can still carry out your duty and roles as a responsibility as a leader. So you have to prevent that. And within the batch, you have to secure programs and plans that help the batch not experience burnouts.
Thank you for that. And sana nga talaga kasi personally I'm a victim of burnout. And it's very important kasi it's snowball governs na dapat again. But let's move on right away to our, di ba may isa pang picture, no? Our next picture, tech team, flash the picture.
the picture shows a balance between two different ways. Now, as a leader, you have to know how to weigh out your responsibilities and your tasks. You have to know which to prioritize and how to manage them to stabilize the various aspects in your life, such as especially your mental health. With this, as a student leader, you have to find the balance within all your responsibilities to bring out the best you can and the best of your abilities as a student leader. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Also, we were kind of unaware, some no, na magkatulad pala yung pictures for the two candidates. So medyo
Na-blind
nabigyan ng
side
hint.
tayo, medyo.
Medyo,
Oo, pero
medyo nabigyan ng hint yung, yung second candidate.
we trust na yun naman
Pero
talaga.
still, what matters is yung what matters yung talaga is yung content and yung interpretation niyo of things. Regardless kasi it would really be different for you to. Kasi syempre magkaiba yung isipan ninyo. Now we can move on to our next set of candidates. Dahil sa grade 10 sa grade 11 ay dalawa pa rin yung candidates natin, di ba? Na magkakatunggali. So, let's first have, sino ba yung mauuna sa, who will we give, sino isasalang natin first here? We'll have,
So, for this one, mauna tayo kay
Dwayne, can we
Kim.
have Dwayne? Ay, kang Kin ba? Sorry. Si Kin pala mauuna. Kin. Ayan, si Kin pala muna. I'm so sorry, Dwayne. Chill ka muna. Kin, handa ka na ba?
Ready.
Okay, ready na to si Kin. Okay. Tag team, flash the picture when you are ready.
Yung first word na pumunta sa isip ko is workload. So, especially now we're entering senior high or grade 11 kasi we do expect na the workload will be, although lesser na yung subjects and all, pero the workload will be somehow more and more responsibilities will be expected of us students, especially since my scale na in SIP. And I believe being a batch governor could really help my batch in lessening the workload and making it easier for them through providing better communication and transparency with our po. So yun po. Sorry.
Workload. Okay, mag-quiet na tayo, Arrow. Okay, baka mag-slip of the tongue na naman tayo. Thank you for that answer, Keen. Dire-diretso na tayo sa second mo na photo to be flashed by the tech.
The first word that came to my mind is laboratory. So hopefully, within the next school year kasi kami na lahat batch makapunta na sa Pisay para maka-use na kami sa mga laboratories doon. So, yun lang po yung from me po.
Okay, interesting set of ideas and explanations. Thank you so much for that, Keen. Now, let's see how Gabrielle will fare with the same set yata of photos or baka ma-surprise tayo, iba na pala to ngayon. So, Gabrielle, thumbs up kung ready ka na. Okay. So, tech team, please flash the first photo towards the screen.
Heavy is the first word that came into my mind because there's a lot of things and overwhelming a lot of things that concern these things, and I think as batch governor I have the responsibility to make things less heavy for the people around me and work towards a smoother, less stressful, and more enjoyable school year. That's it. Thank you.
Ayun. So, natapos na yata tayo sa first natin na photo. And we can now move on to our second photo.
Second photo reminds me of the word study. As scholars of the nation, we do have to do a lot of studying, and it is our responsibility that studies are made easier in this school as a batch governor, and I aspire to make things easier for the people around me with studies and helping each other through cooperation and teamwork with all those studies. Thank you.
Ayun, very different answers yata. Laka, wala na si Arrow. Tech team, are we okay? Okay, let's wait for a bit, maybe a minute for the tech team to figure out the details. And we're back. Okay. So thank you so much for that to both our grade 11 candidates. So yun talaga ang grade 11 tsaka grade 12 talaga yung pinakapag-iisipan yata ng mga tao, no? Kasi sila yung mga may kalaban. Pero of course, kailangan na natin pag-isipan yung mga post natin kasi nga ma-elect lamang if more than 50% ang bumoto. Pero kaya nga, mag-move on na tayo sa ating lower class to our grade 9 batch governor. Unopposed runner. We have Marita. Natasha Bautista.
Marita,
Natasha,
are you ready? Okay, I think ready na siya.
Okay, sige. Tech team, whenever you're ready. First photo po, please. Thank you.
So my answer would be together. So we have to be together if we're going to have a functioning government. I plan to have everyone's opinion and everyone's collaboration to make my batch greater. Thank you.
Very short response, pero concise. Straight to the point. Kasi 'di ba, of course when you're working as a batch governor, you can't do it all. You will need the help of everyone. So, now let's move on to the next picture. Total, medyo nagmamadali naman ang natin. Ating respondent. Let's go. Tech team, if you are ready, second peek, please.
Opinion. So in this photo, someone is on top and everyone's raising their hands. So I presume that they're presenting their opinions. So like I said, continuing my first answer, we need to work together to make this batch greater. So I will be including everyone's opinion in everything I do. Thank you.
Once again, straight to the point. Ibig sabihin, guys, if you have opinions, you will be heard. That is the, yun ang gusto ko ipahiwatig sa inyo ni Marita. And I guess we're gonna go na to our very last candidate. It's going to be the last, candidate na maisasalang sa isang salita. Martina, are you ready sa isang salita? Oh, ready na daw siya. Okay, tech team, if you are ready, flash the picture at makita na ni Martina.
The word that I see in the picture is unity. Though everyone in our batch should be in unity so that we could help each other, and that also in the SG we should all help together to help our fellow classmates, and that we would be able to lead them to a better future. Thank you.
Okay. Nakita mo ba yung picture, Sam? Students na nakataas ang kamay, ganun. You can only... Perhaps my word would be...
is yung mga nag-cellphone sa dinner.
Mali ba? Ay, okay. Maybe delayed yung pinapanood ko na stream. Oo nga, delayed nga pala talaga. I'm so sorry, but now let's move on na to the second picture at nang malimutan ang aking pagkakamali. Second pick, tech team, cover up my mistake.
The word that I see is communication. It shows that two people are communicating with each other, and that should also be what's happening in the SG. Communicating with each other would lead to a better understanding, and that we would sooner or later come to an agreement on what we should do. Thank you.
Okay, communication. If you've noticed, twice, di ba, may communication din kanina from an earlier response from a candidate.
Yeah, I think it
So
really
hindi ko
shows
alam
kung
kung,
paano
oo.
ka-important
O
communication
baka
there.
sadyang nagkulang tayo. Maybe our pictures are not diverse enough. Maybe they speak of the same things na masyado. Pero I guess
Oo,
that
baka eh.
concludes. Would that conclude na, di ba? Yun na yung last. Biglang may isa pa palang natitira. That concludes our isang salita segment. And I hope sa isang salita and isang explanation nila, ay may mga napulot kayong viewers na opinions, may nabuo kayong mga opinions, may medyo na-discern nyo kung gaano ka-critical yung candidates that you are rooting for, kung gaano sila kabilis mag-isip, and the level of perception that they have on certain
Oo.
issues.
Sa very
I
short
guess,
na amount of time, no? 20 seconds lang. Pero ayun, natapos na yata tayo sa ating third arrow. Nandito na tayo sa pinaka-hinihintay yata ng ating audience.
Please, at wag mo na kayong aantukin guys, at tawagin na yung mga kasama yung may mga dalang at mga baong katanungan sa ating mga candidates. It's your chance na to gisa your candidates. Even the candidates you root for, you give them the hard questions because they will have to answer them sooner or later, di ba? Why not ask them the hard questions now na tumatakbo pa lang silang candidates? So, yan, maglagay lang kayo ng questions ninyo. I'm not sure if there are specific mechanics sa
Isulat talaga
pagtatanong.
nila. No, free for all to. So, isulat lang talaga nila kung para kanino.
Pero ganito na lang guys. Isulat nyo para kanino, tapos ilagay nyo na lang din yung name ninyo and batch. So,
Ayun,
yun kung sino yung nagtanong. Ayan, may question format na from the SG.
Sabi ng SG, na pag magtatanong daw, isulat daw follow daw ang format na position, tapos yung tanong natin. So, kunyari, SG President, tapos tanong natin for James Neil Agsalo. Well, wala pang mga tanong, parang inaantok na yata sila Aro, ha?
Nag-iisip lang yan sila, guys. Alalahanin nyo lahat ng mga nabanggit kanina, from the transparency, from the communication,
Yung mga speeches nila, mga sagot
mga
nila
speeches,
mga
di ba? Mga, baka may maisip kayo mga katanungan or even questions na, maybe you've missed, gusto nyo malaman, you want to clear up, diba? May gustong mag-bring up ng, if you're
Asan
not
na
a
ba
good
yung
shot
si
today.
Riot Winter na kanina pa naghihintay sa atin?
Oo nga, yung sabing mag-aantay sa open forum, but wala na siya dito ngayon. Where is he? We need you.
Ayun! Aro, may nag-PM sa akin ng question. Parang nahihiya yata. Pakita ko sino siya. Shoutout
Okay,
sa'yo.
okay lang.
Okay,
Sige.
so eto, may tanong daw siya para sa ating potential junior vice president. Junior Vice President, are you there? Asan ba siya? Sino Junior Vice
Antayin
President?
natin.
Si Angeli.
Angeli.
Ayun, ready na siya. So this is your question. May nagtatanong, you mentioned daw that the creatives and technical teams of the SG were lacking. How will you solve this problem when the reason for this was the lack of initiative from the lower batches to do these tasks? Ayun, ang init! Sige, you can take your time.
To answer that,
Isipan mo.
Okay. Before ko yun siya i-answer, I would like to clarify lang po na I did not mention na nagkulang po ang mga current offices natin, pero rather I am indicating that it would be better if we would have representation from those outside of SG in order for us to be able to meet other talents when it comes to facilitating things such as events or programs. Pero when it comes to the problem with the lack of initiative from younger batches, one way we can solve this is by being open or being more approachable as officers in order for us to encourage these people to be more engaging when it comes to recruitment or involvement in events and programs. And I think this would be a good solution, not only to encourage engagement within the student government, but also within the student body. Thank you.
Ayun, very heated, Feel ko dito talaga lalabas yung mga concerns talaga ng batch kasi of course, hindi natin sasagot lahat galing din sa COMELEC, di ba? So thank you so much for that answer, Angeli. I hope it satisfies yung nagtanong. Tingnan natin mamaya. Ayun! Pumapasok na yung
Okay,
mga
we have
question.
another question. Okay. This question is for our grade 11 batch governor candidate specifically. Para to sa'yo, Dwayne, the Kiwag. Handa ka na bang sagutin?
Of course.
Sige, of course. Okay. Ito yung katanungan. Regarding your proposal for an academic committee drive, how will this work in a face-to-face setting? Ensure this will be updated regularly and reliably. I think it's how will you ensure this will be updated regularly and reliably?
Okay. I've mentioned before that the SG committee drive, academic committee drive is completely voluntary. So of course,
Wait. Sorry, Dwayne. 4 parts pala yung question niya. Sobrang taas, no? Gi-update pa lang ni Riot Vinster. Very, so, sabihin ko na lang muna, tapos you can read the chat if you really want to read it again. So, sabi ni Riot Vinster, to Dwayne the Kiwag, regarding your proposal for an academic committee drive, how will this work in a face-to-face setting? And considering it's purely voluntary, what if no one volunteers? Do you have any specific assigned people who will be in charge of it? Will it be you? And how will you ensure that this will be updated regularly and reliably? Parang ang haba. So basically, parang details lang yata sa kung paano mag-work yung drive.
While planning for this academic committee drive, this has been brought up several times. Okay, first, based on personal experience, this is a platform based on personal experience. And because it's voluntary, of course, there's no complete guarantee contribution. But over our past 4 years in Pisay, we've always had classmates that shared notes and people helping those who missed classes catch up. We've always had those classmates who sent Quizlets for Chem or complete reviewer for VE, and I'm very confident in my batchmates. We do strive to help each other in batch 24, so I really don't think there's a need for extreme regularization or checking, but it does seem like something that we would manage and see if anyone has notes and regularly I will check to see if anyone has notes or extra materials, learning materials on a certain topic. And does that answer the question?
I mean, personally, I think that did answer the question. We put trust on solidarity. I guess that's what you're trying to say. That at best, people will innately help because volunteerism is not something that's inexistent in Bisay and in your batch. Let's see if we have other questions. Do we have more questions pa ba, Sam? Ayan. Okay, this question is this is for both grade 12 batch governor candidates. Para to sa inyong dalawa, okay? And I guess para systematic, uunahin na lang natin si Sari and then si Espino. So, let's have Sari muna. Ayan, nandito sila both. So, the question for you, Sari, ko muna mauna. How has your external and internal identities influenced why you wanted to run for this position? I repeat, how has your external and internal identities influenced why you wanted to run for this position? Sorry, you can answer.
I think that with all the experience that I've had leading a huge organization and encountering a lot of people and having a huge management role, I realized the importance of being a really good leader. It's not all about, well, it's really hugely about delegating tasks, spreading out responsibilities, but it's also really about listening to people and acknowledging that you're not 100% right all the time. That's something I had to learn the hard way. And as a student, as a fellow grade 12, incoming grade 12 student, I think that it's really important na maghahanap kami ng help and guidance sa mga college apps namin, sa incoming sets, SATs. And I think if I were to be batch gov, I would help the students have guidance as well. So magkakontakt na ako ng people and help that para mag-guide din sila and ganun. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sorry. Espino, following with the same question. External and internal identities now. How did that influence your decision?
I'm someone who is active in participating in competitive events like math contests that require collaboration, listening attentively, seeing all sides of the situation slash problems, and that requires quick problem thinking skills. As head of various committees, you have to see how much each member can carry, which I believe is essential in being a student leader. Moreover, you have to see and head what issues needs to be voiced out in these organizations. From grade 7 to grade 11, I've held positions in organizations and student government positions where I could see problems, and I saw from the side how these could be addressed better given better circumstances and abilities from the top leaders. I ran for batch gov because I see this these parallel sa batch natin, and I believe that I am capable and I've proven myself through group works ba or through my contest that I persevere and I work hard for what I'm passionate about. And as running for batch governor, I'm passionate about making the batch better and fostering an environment that helps you pursue your passions and interests. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And it's great talaga hearing from two candidates who will be running for the same position. And I hope, alam ko kasi marami sa inyo in your batch, you're not entirely sure kung sino nga ba talaga sa dalawang itong mas qualified. And I know you have questions, so I hope you give the right questions that will help you decide. Maganda yung mga questions na ganun, where you ask both of them.
Both.
Kasi that way, di ba, you're able to gauge, you're able to compare na, okay, I think I prefer this platform better. I think I prefer this direction better for leadership. Sam, we can move on to the next question.
Oo, kasi syempre, importante pa rin yung kahit yung mga walang mga kalaban araw, di ba? Kasi nga, nasabi mo na kanina, para ngayon na nila ma-iron out yung details. So yun,
Diba?
moving on to our next question, galing kay Lemon LJ, para sa grade 9 batch governor. Grade 9 batch governor, are you there?
I
Ayun
think
siya.
currently okay, okay,
Natasha?
nandito pala siya. Okay.
Okay. So for Natasha, Lemon LGA is asking, since the possibility of face-to-face classes are in the talks, what can you do to alleviate the awkwardness during the first in-person meeting of our batch? I think, yeah, very important to for them kasi ito yata yung first time nila makikita. Oo.
To alleviate the awkwardness, I will make sure that our communication is keyed so everyone will be confident on what they're going to do for that day. And I will also closely work with the guidance unit for their recommendation when coming to face-to-face classes. And usually the PTA and usually makes events for collaboration and engagement and communication. We're going to have one next in upcoming days for we're going to meet together for face-to-face. So I will also work with with my party, the after party list, because student relations is also part of the event of the key topics that we want to showcase. So we'll be working together for this topic. And my project should have to be flexible because we're going through a transition period. So I may have I may have to make meets or anything. So it will be very flexible. And not to mention one of my key topics, my key agenda is to be creating more leaders and making more achievers. So I'll be spearheading more programs for engagement. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Itong next question natin is addressed to everyone. Pero ayaw kong isa-isahin kayo. So, I want na if gusto niyong sagutin yung tanong, you raise your hand and you show to us na you are willing to stand up to a question na medyo mabigat. So for everyone you have the opportunity to answer this. The question is, how do you expect us to hold you accountable when you aren't able to fulfill your duties, promises, etc.? So, how do you expect us to hold you accountable? Perhaps you would like to, answer that question. Of course, optimistically and ideally, you won't have a reason to be held accountable. Pero this shows, the question um, requires from you humility and objectivity. Now, when it happens, are you willing to be the lesser person? Ayan, may nagtaas ng kamay. Angeli, ano daw, how do you expect us to hold you accountable when you aren't able to fulfill your duties? You may unmute.
Okay po. Given if mangyari po to siya na situation, the best way I can hold myself as well accountable for my actions is by learning to take criticisms. Personally, I take criticisms as a utility for improvement rather than a barrier for vigilant and courageous leadership. I do not necessarily take them as negative input, for I believe that it is a vital part of a dedicated leader's growth and development process. I want to be held accountable when necessary for me to be able to continue serving the student body with my highest potential. So to answer your question lang po, in case po talaga na hindi ko po talaga ma-fulfill yung duties and promises na sinabi ko po today, I will be open to discussion and other ways para ma-hold po yung sarili ko accountable because I'm willing to put myself in that position. Yun po.
Very beautifully answered. Perhaps the other candidates have their own perspectives. Ayan. James, your answer, you can unmute.
I have said before naman na I am an open leader. I'm always open to feedback, criticisms, and concerns. So we want to establish feedback mechanisms talaga. May it be through G-forms or pwede nyo lang i-PM sa akin, sa batch and class officers nyo. And we can also utilize Discord for taking feedback. And with these feedback mechanisms in place, we promise talaga to learn and do something and act. So, we're also gonna have the transparency drive naman para makita nyo ginagawa namin.
Yes. Ako, Aro, I think yung feedback mechanisms na ginasabi nila, that's really a culture that they have to develop, no? Pero I guess crossing point rin to sa Pisay right now, sa face-to-face at saka sa online classes. So, we really do hope na magawa niyo yung mga plano niyo. Moving on sa next question.
Sige.
Asa na ba tayo?
The question for the president. Following what he have just mentioned. Yan, magandang question to. Ayan. So, kanina you've mentioned na something regarding transparency, di ba? And the question aligns perfectly. Why do you see the need to have transparency daw as one of your main platforms? Perhaps elaborate. We know it's important, but di ba, detail your answer.
Transparency kasi I've seen the disconnect between SG and non-SG officers. Like, ang daming good projects ng SG that go unappreciated. So we really want the students to be more aware of what the SG is doing and parang checks and balances lang din para they know that they're in good hands and they have good leaders. Yeah. Thank you.
Ayun, parang marami na tayo narinig from our ex-com at saka sa grade 11 and 12 natin, no? Kasi very contested sila. Pero may nagtatanong para sa ating fledglings, our grade 8 batch governor. There's a question from Juris Justin asking, I've noticed that a lot of our batchmates have been struggling with joining classes and complying with requirements. What can you do to prevent this problem from escalating any further? Martina?
In terms with complying with the requirements, I would recommend them that they would either approach their teachers or approach one of their fellow batchmates in case if they don't know or they don't understand the said requirements. If they are also having a hard time with personal stuff that could disrupt them from doing the requirements, they could really approach their teachers so that it would be clarified so that the teachers alleviate their deduction in terms of their grades. In joining classes, I've also noticed that some of my classmates are having a hard time, and most of sometimes they don't join most of it. What I would recommend is that aside from messaging our teachers, because it is needed so that they would know why we are having a hard time, I would also recommend that maybe that we would try to contact the school if they would have any sort of solution in terms of Wi-Fi, since most of the reasons in the struggling in joining classes would be in terms of Wi-Fi. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Martina. The next question, ito, nakabalik na ba si Kin? Or
Hindi pa
hindi
po
pa?
siya nakabalik. Nawala daw po net
Okay.
niya.
Okay, dahil hindi pa siya nakakabalik, I think you will be the one to talang.
Ayan.
Ikaw na lang yung sasagot nito, Dwayne. So, grade 11 batch governor to na tanong. Do you have plans on continuing the prophecy legacy for the graduating batch? Ba daw?
Of course. Sorry for that.
Sa kanila
Of
ba dapat to,
course.
or I'm not sure, wait lang.
Grade 11
Is this
yata to kasi grade 11.
grade 11 ngayon?
Oo, kasi may plano yata yung grade 12 eh. Surprise lang daw nila tayo.
Okay. So yung question na hindi for Dwayne pala.
Oo, para sa grade 11 batch
Okay.
of yata to.
Sorry, mali yung labeling nila Dwayne, hindi namin kasalanan, okay? Nagkamali sila ng grade 11 yung nailagay nila. Yeah, medyo lang, hindi pa kami fully set na grade 13 na kami. We still
Grade
think na
13.
grade
Hindi pa
12
tayo
pa naman kami.
gumagraduate kasi wala pa tayong prophecy arrow.
Oo. Ay, pero hindi ko, okay. Perhaps let's move on na lang to the next question. Babalik kami sa iyo, Dwayne, when there's a question na talaga na kasi medyo confused din kami. Okay, let's move on to a question for our SVP. Ayan, siya na naman ulit. Si ano di ba to? Si hindi si Yara pala, sorry. Yara, your question is, considering the inactivity of the official SMC Discord server, how will you address this?
First and foremost, I would like to plan with the student government on hosting small events throughout the school year so that it would be used, since Discord is accessible to most man. So pwede na gamitin yon for like mga small events siguro, maybe it could be for the whole campus, or pwede for the batch lang. And then another would be, if ever hindi matuloy ang mga events, is that we could use it as a main mode of information, since our party wanted centralized system of information. We may be able to use Discord as one of our main platforms for disseminating information.
Thank you for that, Yara. Let's move on to the next question. And I think ganito na type of questions yung gusto ko talaga makuha from the student body. Those that are, based on the realities of the past. So this is for the junior vice president, JVP. Are you here? Sino ba to? Si Angeli, right? The question for you,
sa kanina araw.
So naging sagot niya kanina. Perhaps you could ask the question, Sam.
So, na-PM to again sa akin. Hindi daw siya satisfied dun sa answer kanina, Angeli. So, fighting pala tayo. One more time. Follow-up question daw. The current and previous SGs have already tried what you said earlier, yung mag-contact ng non-SG people to help in SG-related tasks. What's the difference in what you're proposing? Also, how will you be able to ensure volunteers from the students, considering there's not really a lot who are willing to help the SG and do extra work? So I think this is really based on reality, kung ano ba talaga yung mangyayari, and not the optimistic outcome. So what's your answer for that, Angeli?
Okay. Hello. So aside po, there is still, aside po yung sinabi ko po kanina, one way we can encourage volunteers from those who are outside of SG is to make sure that our governance is approachable and to make sure na open po, na maka-inspire po tayo for them to be able to, para maka-inspire po tayo ng mga talents towards forming change when it comes to fulfilling our duties. I think po that marami naman po talagang mga people talaga sa student body na open po to those options pero they are intimidated or rather takot po sila sa fact na they are scared of the possibilities na mayroong mag-mess up or other concerns like that. So for us to be able to solve those issues is for us to be more approachable as the student government in order for us to inspire them na maging open din sila into contributing into things such as events and programs. So yun po ang answer ko, mostly on approachability.
Approachability. Okay.
Inspire volunteerism. Oo, yun yung core talaga. Kasi
parang marami naman talaga kasing creative
madami
people.
naman. Creative, unselfish people sa Pisay. Pero usually nga, there's a barrier na minsan takot ka sa responsibility. You wouldn't want to be held accountable. So perhaps when we are able to bridge that gap, we are able to delegate more work to people na hindi SG members. Also guys, before we move on to the next I would like to encourage fellow candidates who have questions for siguro sa kalaban nyo or sa candidates of the other position. You may raise your hand, you may verbally say your question, or you pwede nyo i-chat sa amin. Para maging somewhat debate, maging interactive. Oo. May time pa naman, and I think kasi the fellow candidates are able to give questions na mas mas malalim, ganon. That will pull out an extra answers. So candidates, baka gusto niyo, kung naisip kayo, ikaw personally,
Ako personally, since, di ba, isang party list lang yung tumakbo this year, pero merong, ilan ba sila, mga 3 na independent. Very interested ako in hearing kung ano yung mga concerns nila about the platforms of the after party list is mga independent natin. So, baka may gusto ko na mic that.
Baka may mga katanungan. Pero before that, let's bring up questions that have been brought up. Go, Sam.
Sige, asan na ba tayo? Nandito na tayo. Ang next natin na question ay para sa ating probable president. So, the question goes, the Discord server is already being used for announcement and information dissemination by the current admin. How is your administration different from the current one?
Nasabi na to kanina, pero SG memos, we're gonna plan to maximize Messenger kasi doon naman talaga active lahat. We're gonna centralize the information dissemination system. So, yung mga announcements, manggagaling siya sa SG and if-forward siya ng batch governors and class presidents para nothing will get lost in translation. Ganon. And, ayun, we plan to do this like regularly. Like, pag may announcements, dapat may ma-release na kaagad. And we also plan to cooperate with the health unit, the SSD, the CID in disseminating information. Like kung may kailangan i-assign na surveys, maano ng SG sa student body through the system.
Yun, so big concern talaga for people, di ba? Kung ano yung mag-change or kung ano yung i-adapt ng bago natin na administration galing sa current natin na administration. Kaya naman maraming questions para sa ating president. Ang next one ay para pa rin sa'yo. Just can't catch
tuloy mo na? What are your thoughts daw on student activism?
I think that student activism is okay naman. It's an exercise of our rights as Filipinos. And at the end of the day, we all want better lives for everyone. It's good to use your voice and take a stand. I think there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're fighting for the truth and you're doing it through the right means. For me, the purpose of activism is uplifting others and making a good difference. So it should always be about that. Thank you.
Mm. Ah, I think kailangan natin to i-probe deeper, kasi I feel like, yes, very, very good yun na answer for an electoral candidate. Pero if we go even deeper than that, what is your take on political activism as opposed to just normal activism as an environmental or something like that?
Still the same. Dapat ang mga pinaglalaban natin is based on the truth. And dapat ang goal natin in activism is to uplift others, not to bring them down. So ayun, we should respect one another and let people understand what we're fighting for, not fight them talaga. Ayun.
That makes sense talaga. And I've been reading the chats then, and I see questions relating or like trying to delve in deeper in the politics of the candidates. Kasi nga naman, you would want your leader to share your politics, di ba? With how you perceive society. Gusto mo na similar yung ideas, yung beliefs mo with your leader. We have a question for earlier. I've seen a question for teka lang. Asan na ba tayo?
Ang next natin na tanong ay para na naman kay Angeli sa ating junior
Balikan natin si Angeli. Hopefully, other candidates are given questions din. Pero Angeli, tapang-tapangan mo na, sagutin mo na yung mga katanungang inihaharap sa iyo. Sige, ito, with response na naman, reply na naman dahil ayaw talaga niyang mag-resign na ipagbardagulan. Considering that there are already 8 sections, marami na daw tayong sections for each grade level. Why do we still need to inspire volunteerism when the SG has manpower?
Okay, so to answer that question, in my own perspective, even though marami na tayong mga students within our student body, we still have a lack of initiative within within serving in events and programs. And I'm not just thinking about the well-being of students here. I'm also thinking about the student government officers because it's important for us to encourage non-SG involvement because it lessens their workload and allows them to prioritize their personal priorities as individuals. And I think that even though meron tayong mga 8 sections, we still need to encourage and inspire them to have certain involvement or rather non-SG involvement within those categories.
Beautifully answered. And to add to that, I think kasi, sige, go. Ikaw naman ang mauna.
Okay. So, sasabihin ko lang sana na parang pabalik-balik talaga yung question nito para kay Angeli, no? Parang gusto talaga ito nung nagtatanong.
Gustong gisahin.
Para lang mapakali na lang sila, Angeli. What are you going to do in the case na hindi talaga mangyari yung inspiring volunteerism na plano mo? Although it's a very good plan, what will you do or what steps will you take if ever na it fails and it ends up the same as the current administration?
Okay, so I think that the case of approachability and inspiration can still be applied within this scenario because if wala pong masyadong open na people when it comes to outside the SG, I can still encourage or in a way inspire those within the SG to be able to fulfill their duties and to let out their full potential as officers. Kasi po, part naman po talaga, di ba, sa mga SG officers ang pagko-comply ng kanilang mga duties. Pero minsan po, hindi po talaga na-fulfill yung mga duties na na-assign po talaga sa kanila. So I think po, as a candidate for junior vice president, I should not only be open to inspiring those outside of SG, but also those within SG for them to be able to bring out their full potential as officers.
And to add to that, I think kasi hindi enough yung manpower lang. Numbers will not always do. Sometimes skills will come from non-SG members, di ba? Specific attributes na is present within the community. And the right amount of working together will help us be most effective kung lahat ng magkakaibang skills, magkakaibang talents natin are united. Perhaps we have to move na to another person kasi baka inaantok na yung iba nating mga candidates not having
Oo.
questions
Oo. So,
being
doon na naman tayo sa kabataan natin, di ba? Very relevant
okay,
na sa
tara.
araw kasi,
Mm-mm.
kasi wala pa sila naka face-to-face, di ba? So, online pa talaga yung mode nila of interaction ngayon. So, for our grade 8 batch governor, may nagtatanong, in events wherein you will need the full cooperation of our batch, how will you reach out to those students who are inactive in social media and doesn't really check their emails? Don't really check their emails.
Though this would be something that would be in drastic measures, meaning that I don't want it to happen at most times, I would have to either email their parents or call them to their land to whatever number they gave personally, so that they would actually be able to answer. They will be able to answer it. And especially if we give the emails to their parents, it would be much more able that they would be able it would be much more able they would be much more they would be more they would be able to disseminate this information to their own children, since usually parents actually check their emails more than their students. I mean, more than their
Children.
children. Yes. Thank you, pa.
Okay. I think kahit sa atin, kahit up class natin, dapat responsible na tayo. We'll still find people na mahirap i-contact online. So it's a barrier talaga na hindi kakayaning i-solve ni BatchGov mag-isa. The
Very
BatchGov
novel
can
na
do things, di ba?
parang wala yata nag-iisip sa class na i-contact yung parents. Parang
No?
unbroken rule. Oo. Feel ko
Pero
talaga.
hopefully talaga na mag face to face. Kasi certain barriers you can only solve until a certain limit. You can only alleviate until a certain limit. Let's move on to our next question. And I like this question kasi it's built on honesty. This is for the grade 12 batch governors. Kayong dalawa. Kanina nauna si Sari. Right now, pauunahin natin si Espino. So the question for you sa inyong dalawa is, what may be the reasons people won't vote for you and how will you address them? Diba?
As in all elections, voting for a candidate would mean that you believe that they are more capable than the rest of the candidates. That you see one's weakness of one candidate is a strength of the other. Now, admittingly, a weakness of mine, which is a strength of Sari, is having more relations and established connections with the PTA and MANCOM due to her background. And I understand that you're inclined with that due to the many aspects and projects we would have as the graduating batch, like stacking yearbook and prom and all. We would need their insights, thoughts, and especially during meetings. However, as grade 12 batch governor, it is also your responsibility, no matter ano man background mo, to be the one to initiate good connections with them. So as batch governor, ako dapat maglapit sa kanila and hindi sila maglapit sa akin in all batch matters. Kahit wala akong relation, ako mag-initiate. That should be a value a student leader would have. And that is something I have. Other than that, I believe that my strengths are fit for being batch governor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Grace, Sari, how about you? What do you think are the reasons they won't vote for you? Perhaps weaknesses na hopefully you know how to address.
First and foremost, being a leader for me does not, being a leader means that the batch is always right, just as I said kanina. Choosing a leader isn't about choosing who's the most popular, who's the smartest. In fact, between Grace and I, intelligence is out of the question. We're both smart, we're both good. students and individuals and are capable of leading everybody. But it also isn't about how much more experience you have in a lot of events. I understand that Grace has a lot of experience in interacting with different people, different students due to her competition background. But being a leader really is listening. It's all about listening and all about accepting criticism. And that is one of the reasons why I think people won't vote for me, because as I heard that I used to not listen to people before, and I learned that the hard way that I am not always right, just as I said a while ago. And if I were to be batch governor, I will make sure to listen and accept everything openly and create a safe space for everyone, especially being inclusive to all the people, kasi I understand ang dami naming cliques sa aming batch. People who are more comfortable with smaller groups and those who are more outgoing than others. So I promise to include everybody there. Aside from that, I understand na medyo na-intimidate ng people sa akin. So that is in line with creating a safe space for everybody. I promise na you guys can just chat and tell me what I'm doing wrong. I will accept all. I accept na if i-hold accountable niyo ako sa mga actions ko, okay lang, kasi I think that will help me become a better leader. And lastly, one of the things that people told me is that I'm overworked. Ang dami ko daw mga activities, ang dami ko daw ginagawa. And I believe that if with proper planning and strategizing, organizing your tasks, masasolve yan. Especially if maging batch gov ako, kasi ito yung isang my biggest priority is leading the batch and making everyone feel welcome, and then first making the last year memorable. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so
Gusto
much.
rin yung that question, Araw, no? Very important talaga na alam ng ating mga candidates kung ano yung mga weaknesses nila, and that they know kung paano nila yun i-address if ever they actually win. So I hope that helps yung ating mga grade 12.
Dapat kasi before, di ba, before nila ipakilala yung sarili nila to others, dapat kilala mo nila yung sarili nila in the first place talaga. And do we have more questions in the bag? Let's see.
Oo, meron tayong isa pa. Pero parang kumukonti na lang Parang meron pa yatang nasa chat na wala pa na i-encode ng ating tech team. Pero dito muna tayo dito sa chat. So, for our grade 9 batch gov, ayun, for Natasha, disagreements are inevitable in all settings. How would you go about uniting the batch during times when many disagree with each other? What measures would you take? So parang sa mga intrams yata, face-to-face na siguro next year, no? Ganyan. What are your thoughts, Natasha?
So I would foster a place where everyone's opinion is to be heard. We need to have a mode of communication where we can remain diplomatic. If I were to become your grade 9 batch governor, I will listen to everyone's opinion. If there are major differences that need to be confronted, I would meet with the conflicted parties for diplomacy and to confront the problem head on. And I would also employ my presidents to become foot soldiers for peace and diplomacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, diplomacy, it's very important naman. We can disagree, but we can discuss, we can talk, and we can remain respectful. Kasi dapat the disagreements should come toward a compromise that helps everyone. Hindi dapat disagreement lang para lang makipag-away, no? Para lang makipag-bardagulan. No. Okay, do we have questions in the bag? Okay, meron tayong question. I'm not sure kung ano yung... Uunahin ko na lang yung the more recent one.
Oo, meron tayong tanong na parang connected yata sila sa each other, Arrow. Tapos sunod-sunod sila sa isang candidate lang natin. For Dwayne.
Okay.
Dwayne?
I'm not sure. Sige, tanungin mo na lang both at once. I think Dwayne can answer naman all together. Or ako na lang magtatanong.
Sige, go Arrow.
Sige. So, i-assign ko na lang din. So, for Dwayne, what is your honest opinion on the batch as a whole, considering that it is very divided due to its diversity both in opinion and in their LGBTQ identities? Additionally, Keen has proven to be a very clear, friendly batch governor. with a somewhat large LGBTQ community in our batch, do you intend on taking that legacy? So it's very political, but I'm pretty sure you can handle that.
Or of course, I'm sorry, can I be heard?
Yes.
I'm very glad that the batch is a very welcoming community. We are very diverse, and there really isn't an issue with all of us having different identities and having different opinions on things. As far as I know, we do not hate crime each other over our identities, and there isn't really a disagreement on whether or not these people are worthy of acceptance. It's generally accepted fact that all of us are worthy of being ourselves and having our own identities, and as Keen has continued to do so, I will definitely continue his legacy of being a supportive batch governor to everyone with a different identity. Thank you. Is that
Thank you for that, Dwayne. Opo, opo. Medyo natahimik lang kami. Medyo replenish na ng brain cells. Let's see if we have more questions pa talaga hmm, or if we can still accommodate questions. Okay, so I
Parang
believe, oo,
wala na
medyo,
yatang tanong na
oo,
sinesend.
nagigipit na tayo sa time.
Oo.
So that will end our question and answer portion. And I hope na naitanong niyo yung mga bagay na nais yung itanong. And I hope na nasagot ito sufficiently. I also hope na for the candidates, you were able to present the things that you wanted to present. Na naipakita at naipakilala niyo yung sarili niyo in the best way possible. I know you will have
Yes.
madaming questions. Yes talaga,
Oo.
Sam. I know you
For
will have
the past
many more
2 hours and
questions.
30 minutes, di ba, Aro? Yun,
Mm-mm.
narinig natin yung mga candidate speeches nila, mga platforms nila, narinig natin yung answer nila sa mga questions ng COMELEC. Tingnan natin kung gaano sila kabilis mag-isip sa ating isang salita na lightning round. At of course, ngayon bago lang natapos ang ating open forum, na sana naman kahit na mayroon pa siguro mga tanong na wala pa nasagot, we hope na it provides enough na information para sa ating coming elections. Diba?
And sana talaga the best thing that could happen, masagot ang mga katanungan niyo with their actions. Masagot yung mga doubts niyo with visible implementations, di ba? Yung mga bagay na you're unsure of, na you would want to question, hopefully mapatunayan nila when they become leaders. Pero I hope na sufficient dahil that will be the most na you can get na in trying to know these candidates better. Pero I hope before all these things end and before you make a vote, you understand na these leaders are not your heroes, 'di ba? They have limitations and they have responsibilities. And within the scope at which they can work, sana they can do their best. And hopefully we're all able to work together to hold them accountable and to commend them if they do a good job. But I guess
Yes.
that concludes the entire thing,
So,
our meeting, the Avance.
tama, Aro. So while ako personally, I wish everyone here, all 10 candidates, well, first of all, congratulations and thank you for taking on the responsibility, but also good luck for the incoming elections. Even more so, I wish to say good luck sa ating mga voters
Good
itong
luck.
mga audience members natin na nandito hanggang ngayon, itong 54 watchers natin. Pero yun nga, patapos na tayo. But before we truly end this meeting, the Avance, let us hear the closing remarks and final announcement from our COMELEC head, Kylie Gaviola.
Take the floor, Kylie.
Before ending today's meeting de Avance, I'd like to congratulate all our candidates for successfully presenting their platforms. A few hours may not be enough, but I hope everyone was able to fully grasp our candidates' future plans. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time out of their busy schedules to listen and participate in today's event. In behalf of the student government, we hope the future administration will have truthful and excellent leaders. May we have a clean and fair elections ahead. A few announcements. Our elections will be held online. Each student will have to claim a code from Google Keeps. Each code will be unique for each student. The code will be used to verify your vote. Please do not share your code to other students. Elections will be on June 6, 2022, Monday, and the results will be out on June 8. Voting will be done through G-forms that will be sent to you by your class presidents. Further information will be disseminated by your class presidents, so please be mindful of their announcements. Any further questions can be forwarded to me, your COMELEC head, or your class presidents. Once again, thank you everyone for coming, and please vote wisely.
Ayan, so nagbabalik na pala kami. Hindi naman kami na-inform ng medyo maaga. So, at this point, oh my God, ayan, nakita ko nagsistretching. If you... Okay, at this point, we will now be, nasa last part na. As we all, sing our DOST hymn. Pero before that, we will be signing off na. Ako yung host ninyo, Aru Paquera, along with...
And ako yung isa niyo pang host, Charmaine Mabano. And thank you for
And we,
joining us.
thank you for joining us. And we are hoping that the elections will be successful and you become informed and critical voters. Yun lang. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And we expect na yung next set of leaders will do a good job. We trust you guys.
For our dreams, as we strive for our goals, as we search for the answer.